For everyone tuning in, before we dive into today's episode, I just got to say, first and foremost, you should definitely go watch the first episode we did with Louis Ziskin if you haven't seen it yet, because this one might not make a ton of sense. There's a lot of background info in a 4.5 hour long episode that some of you guys might have missed. So we'll have that linked in the description below, just in case you want to go tune into that first. And also, we get a little feisty with the topics in this episode, and you guys are surely going to enjoy them. Just remember, respect everyone's opinion, even if it's different than yours. I sure did on this episode. Let's dive into it. So let's say I wanted to become a drug trafficker. I'm going Louis Ziskin. What do you think I should choose as a drug?
You want to talk biggest profit margins? To Singapore, but you'll die if you get caught. You're taking a $10,000, $12,000 unit here and turning it into 200 grand. I would go on the trade commission over there in Singapore and see what's actually getting shipped. And then I'd start narrowing it down to products that would work. I'd find companies that do those. I'd see if any of them were in financial trouble, and I'd try to leverage their existing shipping line. If not, put a private investigator on them and find compromising information to leverage that.
Did my prep. Do you want me to change or not say any of the real names that were mentioned in those, or is it cool for me to? Because I have copy pasted segments where it's talking about Tamer, who's your friend that you had mentioned.
Yeah, you can
Deary, John Ibrahim, just these real names. Is there anyone I refer to these people where you want me to change their name or
No, those are all rats except for Tamer. You can fucking scream their name as loud as you want.
Great, cool. That makes it so easy for me then. Awesome.
We should have put that in. Was that recording?
No, not yet. But dude, you can say whatever the hell you want about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of what you've been up to since we last spoke. More about your life.
I noticed a lot of comments were like, "Oh man, it's cool that you posted the paperwork."
People love that, dude.
Yeah.
I knew people were gonna love that. And all the stuff that you sent me for before this one, we can throw into, just like we did last time. So
you want to? How do you want to center it on Thailand?
No. Well, this time around, I was originally thinking so. I rewatched our last episode together. I feel like we talked a good amount about that, actually.
All right, no problem.
So I more so am going to ask about stuff that I didn't ask about before. First off, I don't think I knew that you were a Marine at one point.
I wasn't.
You weren't?
No.
Why did the news
say that? Part
say
of the
that?
Thailand thing.
Really?
Yeah, dude, because it was like a corrupt thing, right? That's a good question, and I'll explain it to you.
Okay. Yeah.
And then if you see the video, did you pull up the video that they had of the restaurant?
Yes.
Supposed kidnapping?
Yep.
They're saying that's me in the black hat.
I
and
remember
black
we
shirt.
watched that last time too. Yeah, I've seen that video tons of times.
Clearly not me.
Yep.
Right? The whole thing was fabricated to try to extort me. For money I may or may not have gotten back from the dude that I may or may not have grabbed.
Yep. 100%. Yeah, it sounds like the Thai government was to you.
Part of it. Right. And that's the interesting part, right? It really gets into politics kind of, right? There's half the government there that's very pro-China and half the government there that's pro-US.
Yep.
And the pro-China government is who, the king, everybody says they're king this, king that. King wasn't involved, dude. If the king's involved, you disappear.
Mm-hmm. He's effectively just a figurehead.
Well, no, he gets cut in, dude. The biggest dealer in Thailand is the king of Thailand.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's the reason why, if you're doing in Thailand, you go away forever because that's government business, And so you look at the, Captain Kampi, the head of SkyMed. This was a major and the captain in the Air Force in Thailand. Somchat Lumsiri, he's a general. He's working with this dude, Patty the Room. These dudes were working together with Chinese in order to bring Chinese medical waste to Thailand and then ship it to the U.S. The reason why they were so mad at me was because on those same shipping routes goes and fake EpiPens to kids in Africa.
Yeah.
Which is actually huge money for them because the WHO is so stupid. They keep paying these fake Chinese vendors for fake medications.
It sounds like nobody's checking these products, these shipments, as they're going out.
It's kind of like the UN, right? Most people say the UN this, UN that, but they don't really understand how the UN works. There's a non-aligned bloc, 131 countries. You can read about it online that votes anything against us. There's 57 Islamic aligned bloc. They vote everything against Israel. It's how, regardless of what you think about Israel, You think that they should have more UN sanctions by 100 times than Iran?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I
Iran's
don't know
never
if I'm
been
even qualified to speak on that, but I don't know.
Iran's never been censured by the UN.
Interesting.
And Israel is the most censured country. Like Assad didn't get censured by the UN there was no official UN statement or UN vote against him gassing his own people, right? So when you look at how the UN works, it's very similar to how other countries. We're also very similar to how prison works. There's gangs, and those gangs who have more control have a greater share of the benefits.
There's always gangs. They're just on different levels in different industries.
Well, that's why I always tell people, I'm like, if you want to understand politics, stop looking at it as the way it's being fed to you, and understand that every country is its own gang with its own interests. And the smaller ones have to make alliances, and the bigger ones can kind of dictate alliances. But if you understand that it's really just that naked, then the world will start to make sense to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, when you really break it down, I mean, police are a gang. Every country's government is their own gang. You have gangs within the country. Even in any other industry, it doesn't have to be government. In industries, there's gangs. I mean, that's just
100%. Look at the 3 alcohol distributors in America. At all the alcohol that gets drunk in America, and all the stores that sell it, and all the manufacturers of it, there's only 3 distributors.
Yep.
It's what I'm looking for to happen when the feds legalize weed.
Mm-hmm. How soon do you think that's going to happen?
I don't know, but there's too much money there for them not to get their cut, and there's too much money for the banks there and processing credit card payments to pay for it. But what I do tell, I was actually consulting for a VC friend of mine who invests in weed issues.
It's a very high risk business.
He only invests in highly regulated states, right, where it's not public license, like limited license states, he calls it.
Okay.
Right? Because that's where you have price control, margins are maintained, and you don't have, like in California, it's just a mess.
It's a shit show.
Yeah.
Everyone sells weed here.
Yeah, everyone sells weed here, and the black market is 100 times size the regular market, and the taxes are so high, and the licenses are so easily even that some people would say it's hard to get a license. Relatively speaking, California is the easiest place to get a license. Well, that creates a market that's not favorable to, that is much more favorable to the black market.
100%.
Whereas in limited license states, the weed isn't so prolific, which means the black market doesn't have a big a business to blend into or hide underneath. So you can still have law enforcement, limited licenses, and maintain reasonable price controls.
Yep. You can easily take a significant share of the market in that state.
So when he was asking me what I thought, he asked me the same question, and I said to him, I was like, if it was me, I wouldn't, anybody that I was considering investing in, I would have them apply for global entry. And he said, why would you do that? And I go, because global entry is the most stringent background check that the federal government's going to do on one of its citizens, unless it's a criminal investigation or, you're running for a public office.
Yep.
So if they cannot clear global entry and get global entry, then whenever the Fed licensing does come, they're not going to qualify for it, is a safe bet. So that's the one thing that I would do if I was in your business and investing in cannabis concerns. I would make sure that all the principles and any concern that I was investing in all could have global entry, not because I care about their travel, but because I want to know the level of background check they could clear.
I'm going to assume you don't have global entry.
No, but I have pre-check.
There you go. You got more than me, dude. I don't even have pre-check yet.
No, I applied for it. They say no quick. I apply every 5 years.
Yeah. When's the next time you're going to be able to apply?
4 more years.
There you go. 2029.
Yeah.
You're coming for it.
Well, I figure I'll be more than 10 years off parole by then. I'll be more than 15 years. And so we'll see what happens.
Maybe they'll forgive you. Finally.
I don't know. I mean, they've watched me quite a bit. They know I'm not doing anything, through all my, my story pretty well. Thailand,
100%.
Ukraine, like the whole thing, right? Like,
yep.
They've had they've stuck their noses in pretty well into my life. And, I'm not moving anymore. So
yeah, you're doing your thing.
Yeah. I started a tech company. I did, I started this new Limitless thing.
Yep.
Focus supplement that I was getting smuggled in. Actually, when I was in prison representing myself, my paralegal was smuggling me in like turmeric, CoQ10, this like mixture of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in Thailand, I was getting her to send the same stuff. And then a friend of mine, when I came back, was asking me why was I taking all this. I was like, bro, it's really good for focus, like when you need to concentrate. And so he's been bugging me for years to like make a thing. So we actually got it formulated now. And now
You're taking it seriously now.
Yeah, limitlessfocus.com, shameless plug.
Go for it. Send it.
And it's really good. It doesn't make you edgy. It has a very small amount of caffeine just as an activator, but it's really, I think you'll like it.
You got to bring me some, bro.
No problem. I'll definitely bring you some.
Dude, I'll definitely check it out.
I should have brought you a bottle to put next to the Only Gas.
Next time, dude. Next time. Now, for everyone tuning in right now who somehow missed the first episode with Louis here, just for a little bit of background info, today I'm sitting across from a very interesting man. This is, in American history, the biggest trafficker. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
At least it got caught.
That got caught.
There might be a bigger one that hasn't been caught.
Yes. I mean, by anyone who's been arrested and by seizure amount, you are the biggest trafficker in American history.
Amount,
and you also,
Tamer
very
and I.
interestingly, yes, your boy Tamer and you, who we'll probably talk about plenty more in this episode.
He's the best.
But another interesting thing about you is once you got arrested and you were fighting your case, you actually successfully self-represented yourself and exposed flaws in the federal wiretapping system, correct?
Yeah, I had 2 indictments. I was the only one on the case that had 2 indictments. The first one, I went to trial, 6-week trial, got sentenced to 30 years. And then I had a second indictment, so I was still in court. I was on appeal on the 30 years, but I was still in regular district court for a continuing criminal enterprise Kingpin, 848, which is a nightmare. And I fired my attorneys and represented myself because I saw from the 10-day reports, which is when you have a wiretap authorization from a judge, you have to, as a law enforcement officer, report to the judge every 10 days, hey, this amount of drug calls, this amount of calls came through, this amount of minimizations, meaning when they were talking about stuff other than drugs, we weren't listening. You know, we were being diligent about just minimal invasiveness is what the standard is, because it all comes out of the search and seizure, unreasonable search and seizure. So minimum invasiveness, and while there's no set time that they have to minimize the call for, they have to do it to show that they're trying to do it, right? And then if they come back in and we're talking about drugs, they can't get what they lost. Title III does not allow you to include, to have equipment that could add, edit, alter, delete, or erase. And my basic issue is I took the wiretaps as they were given to us, and I compared them to the 10-day reports, which were happening contemporaneously with the actual case before there was informants. And on 8 different days, there was 21 different calls that had minimizations now that didn't have them in the 10-day reports.
Interesting.
So that meant that Title III was being violated. Now, I couldn't prove exactly which of the calls on those days they did it to, because there were calls that were minimized on those days.
But you had that discrepancy either way.
Yeah. So, and then I also knew that there was part of conversations minimized. So I knew that that's what it was. And then when you compared the informants' rats transcripts with the first trial with the wiretap, because even that I wasn't on the wiretap, I know what they're talking about. I could tell where they edited to protect the rat's testimony, basically, and allow them to testify to things that weren't true. Now I had to prove it. The lawyers thought I was crazy, so I fired them and represented myself. And, you know, long story short, I filed a 17C subpoena because 2 of the guys were in jail that were caught on the wiretap. So some of the wiretap I got from MDC, who doesn't minimize anything. They record everything. It's right on a fucking sign there, which is amazing to me because people get caught on the phone there all the time. And in order to use the phone in a federal prison, there's a sign at your eye level that says, this is being recorded 100% and will be used against you. This
People act like it isn't sometimes.
Yeah, like, and they still get busted doing shit. It's right there in your face the whole time. So anyway, we got some of the, you know, the government fought against that. I got the 17C subpoena. And then what I did was a lot of the conversations were in Arabic. So I got the Arabic, all the guys in MDC. We had a pretty big case. I said, hey, I'll buy your line sheets. Line sheet is not a full transcription of the wiretap, but it's the date of the call, the time of the call, where the minimizations are, and a summary of the call and the monitor. So I got those because I had a feeling, how many fucking Arabic monitors can they have? Remember, this is pre-September 11th.
Yeah.
Pre-war on terror.
Can't be that many.
Yeah, there can't be that many because I'm seeing Arabic guys all over because they're all there for speed. Sudafed pills, right?
Yeah, whole different thing.
All of it, but that's like literally that was their crime, right? Like the Armenians are medical fraud. The Arabs were there for Sudafed.
Interesting.
Pills. Yeah. Stereotypically speaking, it holds pretty true, right?
Yeah.
So the Mexicans are there for everything.
They're down for whatever. They just want to make some money.
Yeah. And the blacks are in there for crack. Right? They're all rocking up crack and that's their thing. And
it's
you know,
really
the white boys tend to be like more fraud, white collar stuff, at least at the MDC level. You get some harder core white boys. Anyway, so I get these you know, as you get to prison. So I get these line sheets and I find where they have the same monitor monitoring two different calls that are happening at the same time. So when we get to the evidentiary hearing,
that's a problem.
I have everything I need because I get Tamer's lawyer, David Chesnoff, who's was horrible. Anyway, I get him to ask a couple setup questions about firmware and this and that. And then I get up there, it's John Radkowski, the head of DEA wiretaps, all DEA wiretaps. And I get him up there and, you know, I'm on second cross because they did the government does direct, and Chesnoff did the first cross. I get up there second cross, and I'm like, yeah, so you know, you can't. Title III says you can't have equipment that can add, edit, alter, delete, or erase. And he's like, yeah, and I'm like, wouldn't it be more accurate to say that you have the T2S2 machine comes with firmware that would protect against that? And he gave me that quick, which is funny because Title III doesn't say that you can have equipment that can do it as long as you have software that protects against it. It says you cannot have it. It's an illegal spending of congressionally authorized funds to even buy equipment that can do that. But knowing how computers work a little bit, the hardware obviously can do it. It's all about the software, right? Like, so anyway, he conceded that, and I said, so kind of like a monitor can't listen to two calls at the same time. And he's like, yeah, exactly. And so then I gave, you know, obviously this took longer through the questioning, but then this is the meat of it. Then I gave him that and I said, well, how do you explain this? Here are the same monitors listening to two different calls on two different wiretaps at the same time. That's their serial number. There's
no way.
That the other thing. And, you know, it was like, he's like, yeah. And I guess that software's not working, is it? And that, you know, then it was pandemonium. The government was like, objection. It's actually a good transcript. One day I should send you some of these transcripts.
For sure. Yeah. I'm sure people would love to read it.
Yeah, you should read it. I send you so much stuff, though. Right?
I have a ton.
Yeah.
Dude.
So,
I have a ton.
I mean, you know, if you want transcripts now, you're talking about another 40,000 pages.
We can make it happen.
But, you know, the prosecutor's like, oh, you know, objection. We don't know if this is real. And government discovery comes with a bait stamp on the bottom of the page.
Okay. What is that?
It's like basically a serial number like that shows that this is real. And it's kind of their indexing thing because they don't number the pages one through whatever. There's a bait stamp, right? You might have a document that has 500 pages.
And that just like connects it to the case.
Yeah, there's a bait stamp that'll run all the way through every document.
Okay.
Right? And within that, you might have documents that happen to be numbered, but if you know, the indexing for federal discovery is bait stamped. At least it was at that time. And I was like, Your Honor, this is bait stamp material, and I'm willing to plead open guilty plea. If I faked any of this, I think we should be able to continue.
Yep.
And get to the bottom of it. And the judge gave the government a recess.
I mean, it's got to be an insane feeling to walk into court on your own after firing your lawyer and successfully pull that off.
Yeah, well, I mean, bro, listen, I'm the first one to admit a lot of things are scary. It's how we respond when there's something to be scared of, right? Like, that's the difference in what makes people's character a lot of the times. I would say a big part of someone's character is defined by how do they handle scary things. And I don't mean you have to be a tough guy. I don't mean you have to, attack everything. I mean, how do you handle? Are you able to maintain reason?
Yeah.
Are you able to maintain the things that you consider are important for your personal integrity? Or does fear eliminate all of those things and you just become, frozen? Some
Yeah.
people just freeze when they're scared.
They just freeze up and take it,
Yeah,
whatever happens.
they become immobile. They can't, that people say flight or flight. There's a third thing, frozen.
Fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah, people can't decide what to do, and they become paralyzed with fear, and that's always a bad thing. So, I just want to be clear. I'm not saying you have to be a UFC fighter every time you're scared. I am saying you have to maintain a cool head, preferably, maintain reasonable thought, and maintain your personal integrity to the best of your degree. It's one of the things that was, if you could say something good came out of the case for me, was when I was sentenced to 30 years and I was looking at life, it was maximum leverage.
Yep.
And I found out I handled it the way that I always hoped that I would have. I found out in that particular situation, and it hasn't been like this in every situation in my life. Sometimes I fall flat on my face too. But in that moment of maximum leverage, I was the man that I'd always hoped I'd be.
Yeah, I mean, you pulled it off, and from my understanding, a lot of people admired you for what you pulled off in the courtroom. Yeah.
Yeah, I think begrudgingly, right? I mean, a lot of guys represent themselves, and mostly they're clowns. That's why you have the maxim. The guy represents himself as a fool for a client.
For sure.
And I seen that myself, right? Like guys go in there and they just think they're in a congressional filibuster or something, and the judge lets them go to a certain degree, and then sooner or later it's done. And I think, especially on a CCE case where there's no budget constraints, there's no manpower constraints, there's no limit to what you can offer the rats in exchange for their testimony. It's really one of the couple times, that and RICO prosecutions, where you get the full force of the federal government for real.
Yeah.
Because every other federal case does have hour limits. It does have overtime limits. It does have limitations on what they can give the informants, right? There's a guideline for all these things. And once a CCE prosecution is authorized, that's the end of that. There's none of those things.
Yep.
None of those things.
One of the things I'm really kind of curious about too is kind of going back to right before you had gotten arrested, maybe even right before that first seizure that had kind of set everything in motion. How do you think stuff could have gone differently, where maybe you wouldn't have gotten in trouble or could have avoided the entire case? Could anything have gone different, or do you feel like the outcome was inevitable?
No, obviously, hindsight being 2020, there was several things from the extreme to the, admin stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That one of the admin things is there was so many pills. Nobody noticed that these two girls, Sonia McDaniels and Amina Jackson, were stealing until the numbers were really big, right? And if we would have been paying much closer attention to the exact pill counts of, because there were shipments going all the time, right? And at least at that phase, later on, it got to be bigger. The last, 8 months, 9 months, it got to be bigger because we were doing air cargo and private jets and stuff, right? But at that phase where we were doing, boxes basically, on all different UPS, FedEx, DHL. Instead of saying, here's 2 weeks worth of, here's a couple million pills that are going to go in these boxes over the next 2 weeks. But if we would have counted literally to the pill every box, right, then we would have caught them stealing much sooner. And then they wouldn't have been caught stealing and led them to Mike's house and John to get arrested and raiding Tamer and Al's house. So that's first. And, on the extreme gangster side, which wasn't me either, when Mike became an informant, he could have been eliminated. That's not me. I mean, but you look back, and the honest answer to your question is those two things and a plethora of things in between, and removing somebody that way that's not my wheelhouse.
Yep.
I mean, that's not my thing.
But that would have had to happen for things to have gone differently.
Yeah, that would have had, if that happened, then things would have gone differently. Or like I said, from a simple admin thing, we would have never got to that point, right? Had we done a better accounting of, to the day rather than, there was a few weeks, like there's X amount of pills that are getting shipped over, because I had guys there, they put them in boxes, or this, that, the other thing. I know they've got 3 million. At the end, you've got 2,960,000 accounted for. Like, who really cares, right? Like, but
It's more than enough.
had we been, and I kind of always looked at it like along the supply chain is like, if you own a bar, the bartender is going to steal a couple shots from you. As long as they're not stealing the bottle, that's fine. So when that was happening and there was those kind of numbers missing or unaccounted for, right? Then all of a sudden it turned into hundreds of thousands. But by the time we found out when they started doing that, it was 3 weeks later, and the feds had a hot package. And the two girls got caught literally after picking it up from a hair salon in San Bernardino, which is where it got shipped to, as hair products. They pulled into a gas station like on the 10 freeway, I want to say Mendocino, something like that mall right there. Opened the box to steal stuff out of it before they drop off, and the feds busted them.
Oh, wow.
And so, like I said, from a simple admin thing at the simplest level, and I blame myself for this because, if I'm half as smart as I think I am, then I should have seen this coming. Like, I can blame them, but ultimately the blame rests with me, right? Like, the more you blame other people, I realize the more I'm belittling myself. And if I have this impression of myself as far as intelligence and ability to figure things out, then, this was a clear oversight and neglect on my part, which nobody's to blame for that except for me.
Yep. Prior to finding out about them, taking all this stuff and getting caught, opening the box, how much did you trust them? I mean,
I didn't even know them.
Oh.
They worked for somebody else.
Okay.
Mike Deary, who, now he's mad at me. He's got them shipping kilos and this and that. This dude was the dude who was handling the actual nuts and bolts. We called him Mike the Mouse because he loved his cheese, and I got to give credit. He was like one of the best workers ever, but he's also the biggest scumbag in the world. I mean, he's the biggest rat. He coordinated the other rats to make sure they all had the same story, and
really,
it was his lies. Like it wasn't enough for him to just rat. He lied in order to make sure that I would never come home again, right? It wasn't, most people who turn rat, at least most of them, they're like, they want to do the minimum to get out, but they're not trying to fuck people over extra.
100%.
And he was like, oh, well, you owe me money. Well, it turns out no. And you knew, motherfucker, right? He was telling everybody else, oh, Louis owes me money after he got busted and this and that. And he knew that wasn't the case because he's seen the discovery before he ratted. He knew that these girls were the ones stealing. He knew that's why the count was off on, because he got a percentage of what came in, right? Well, dude, it doesn't matter that it's 3 million. If there's only 2,960,000, like, fucking, you're going to get 40,000 less percentage.
Yep.
Right? Like everybody across the board takes that hit. Now, when it turned into hundreds of thousands,
That's a big problem.
And not only that, he had them shipping cocaine. So he thought, there was 40 more kilos of cocaine in London than there actually was. Right? And the guys over there are like, nah, dude. Like at that point, it was like, hey, there's 120 that are unpaid for, right? Not 160. And I was like, dude, you didn't send them out. Where's the receipts? Where's the air bills? They didn't have them.
I mean, I'm just
but it all broke apart at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Like the discovery of this stuff all happened at the same time, and it should have happened sooner, before people, because when people do that, they get away with the first 10,000, they get away with it.
Yep.
Next time it's going to be 20,000, 40,000, then it's going to be 100,000, 500,000. 1 key, 2 keys.
It'll never stop
so if
going
you, so
until
yeah, so if you don't catch it right away, again, neglect by anybody in the drug business to not count it to the fucking gram and the dollar and the pill, because this is what that engenders. You know, you create this mess for yourself, right? And you know, but I said it, I think last time. Part of the thing was, Gabi, is that we were young and we were making so much money that we never systemized it fully. Like, we were just as concerned with partying and spending and being asshole, you know, 27, 28, 29-year-old kids. Tamer was even younger, 24,
when you've got $1
25.
million, what's 10 grand?
Millions.
You know?
Yeah. You're so busy having a good time, and the money's just, and the margins are insane, and the money's just insane. Like, we didn't grow up as gangsters. We didn't come up from the street level. Yes, we started selling 5,000 pills, 1,000 pills at first, and grew into million pill transactions.
That's still a fuckload of pills to begin with. I mean,
yeah, but we didn't, you know, we didn't come up from the street as gangsters. We didn't have that hard knock life, like learning these types of things about this business. It's like they tell people in prison, you know, if you're not ready to stab somebody over $5, don't loan anybody any money or drugs or anything, right? Like, that's really what it comes down to. And you know, it's the same kind of thing in the dope business on the street. If you're not willing to handle the small things, small debts, small discrepancies, they're going to turn into big ones where you might get handled because your books aren't going to be right.
Yep. That's a problem.
And that's a problem. At that level, it's a problem. At every level, it's a problem. But like anything, you know, millions of dollars is much more motivation
for sure
than 1,000.
100%. Yeah, the bigger it gets, the bigger
and
risk
the more
you're
personal
taking.
it becomes. You know, everybody says it's business, it's not personal, make clear-headed decisions. But when somebody takes millions of dollars from you, it becomes personal.
That's extremely personal.
Yeah. It's all cool for the movies to call it just business, but you know, some of these things do become personal.
Yep. Now I'm curious, I mean, when you're getting these shipments of 2 to 3 million pills, you know, wherever they're headed, I'm really curious how that breaks down.
So
like,
you do a multi-box DDP, meaning like if it's going there or it's coming here, like you put 60,000 pills in a box was a good number for us, right? And then you put 3 boxes on that air bill, so multi-box, and then you're using an actual FedEx account that has high traffic. Because I used to go down on Robertson, and the 10 freeway used to be the main FedEx office in LA.
Yep.
Now, this is before, remember, this is in the 90s, right? Late 90s. So what used to happen is at 5 o'clock, there was a line outside the door of everybody trying to make the cutoff. So I'm standing there with my FedEx envelope and the slips, and I'm literally just copying over people's shoulders their account number and their company name and company address. So you're getting these huge, like we had Ubisoft, we had software companies, we had a huge,
whoever the hell,
Eastman Kodak, like huge companies, right? Like, and so and then there was a thing, DDP, delivered duties paid, meaning you could charge any taxes to the FedEx account number. So now customs doesn't have to hold boxes.
They're going for free.
And typically, you know, and this is, it's what it is. If you're giving customs in another country money, they're less likely to fuck with your shit.
100%. You're good to go.
Because they are, first and foremost, they're all called customs and excise. Their number one job, even before contraband, is collecting excise taxes and VAT taxes in Europe. They might not admit it to you. They might tell you, oh no, I work in counterproliferation. I'm in drugs and customs, U.S. Immigration Department of Homeland Security. But customs' number one job?
Collect tax.
And there might be cops that are customs cops that are 100% drug related. But the number one overall riding drug of any customs agency is collecting tax.
I mean, breaking it down like that, would you not be scared because it's more shipments?
No, you know, because you're using different accounts. You're diversifying. So, you know, a lot of times, like guys, even to this day, they get a shipping account, right? And they use it until they burn it out, right? And then every other thing on that shipping line is going to get hit. So people lose potentially their whole pipeline.
Yep.
right? Whereas if you diversify it and you only have a shipment in the air per account at any one time, even if that gets lost, it doesn't affect the shipments that are on other accounts going to other addresses.
Yep.
Unfortunately, most people operate, or fortunately, if you're law enforcement, unfortunately, if you get busted, most people operate in the drug business, at least initially, from a position of desperation rather than preparation. So they have one address and they have one account, or maybe they don't even have an account. Some of these guys just do like post and pray. They go to your local mailbox, etc., and fill it out, or go to the post office and do first class mail, and
Yep.
and they pray that it goes with post and pray. But guys who are a little bit more sophisticated and they have one address that they can send to and one account that they can use, if that works, they're going to load that up. And ultimately, when it does get busted, you're not just going to lose that box, you're going to lose everything in that pipeline.
I mean, with these boxes, do you not think that like these owners of these companies that you're using their info could get fucked for that? Like, what happens to them?
We didn't give a fuck.
Well, so if
some of them testified at my trial. They brought some
Really?
to say that those weren't their shipments. And
did any of
we'd
those people
stolen their
get into
account
like
numbers.
real serious trouble with those boxes?
No. The feds knew. Like they brought, and when they went and investigated, they went to investigate them, not.
So it became clear pretty quick that there was something bigger going on.
Because Mike, the dumb fuck that he was,
Mike Deary, yeah?
Yeah. He, in the storage unit that he got under a fake name, when they did the raid after the girls got busted, if storage units were like $15 back then, $21 back then. Right?
Sounds like a good
This
fucking
motherfucker's
deal.
making millions, dude, and he gets it in a fake name, good, and then saves the fucking receipt for the storage unit. So when the cops come in, after they follow the girls, they caught the girls agreed to continue the delivery on to Mike and Tamer's cousin John. That's how they got to Mike's place. They didn't catch Mike that night, but they found a bunch of paperwork and another 400,000 pills in his car. And then Tamer's cousin had walked across the street there to meet the girls and put it in a Volkswagen that was downstairs, and then walks back to Tamer's house, and the feds just by luck happened to see where he went. And then when they get up to Mike's house, they can't leave the drugs. So now when they get up to Mike's house, they see a picture of this dude. So now they go into that building on Wilshire and give the doorman a picture and say, hey, do you know this guy? And the doorman's like, oh, yeah, he lives in this unit with Tamer. They get into Tamer's house. They find that. And so then now after they bust him and 400 grand, actually 600 grand that got thrown out the balcony, down to Al's house. Maybe it was 400. I don't remember.
You just took a bag of cash and just whipped it off? Or?
Because another friend of ours, Al Mayman, another fucking rat, he lived downstairs. So he took the cash when he heard the cops were at the door and threw it down to his balcony. Well, someone was outside and saw it. So that gets them into Al's house, right? Another fucking genius. And he had a book on how to hide your assets.
Oh, great.
And he kept all his foreign bank account numbers written in the back of it, like notes.
Genius.
Dumb
Smart
fuck.
guy. Yeah.
So anyway, they get this storage receipts. They go to the storage and they get 2 million of Tamer's pills there. But besides that, this dumb fuck Mike never threw out any of the boxes for over a year and a half.
Why?
So they have all the FedEx, because he's a fucking idiot. They have all the FedEx labels on the box. This is how the feds got the drug weight off the chart, because the FedEx labels had the weight.
Yeah, they have the weight of the
They
box.
busted they busted a box with pills in it so they could average it. And they had saw all the different accounts that were used, so they knew that it wasn't these companies doing it when they busted, but they went to them to see if they'd be witnesses, like they did with Feldmar Watch Company on Pico. Right? Fucking everybody, don't go there with cash. They're fucking scumbags. They'll rat on you when they get busted.
Feldmar Watch Co?
Feldmar Watch Co. on Pico everybody used to go there and buy the shit cash, right? Like, so I bought masterpieces for everybody for Christmas in '99, like the whole team.
That's a major Christmas gift.
Yeah, and anyway, I got one there, and I got a watch for my mom, and I left a deposit actually for Mike's masterpiece, because I'd given him pills to cover the balance. So I just put $5,000 to hold the watch. Anyway, they found that receipt at Mike's house, and these fuckers came and testified about everything I did there.
What?
Because they went to them and said, oh, you took cash, 5,000 cash. Where's your report?
What scumbags, dude.
So
Fuck
instead
those
of
guys.
fucking swallowing, they said, "Oh, we're going to audit your books, this, that, everything," and they were taking cash from everybody, more than 10,000 or whatever. They used that as an in, and so then these motherfuckers come and fucking testify against me. And they, the thing about it back then, I don't know if the old man's dead or whatever. Like he was one of these dudes that acts like he's with it. He used to, be up there, La Monica's Pizza and playing the Beverly Hills Italian fucking cocksucker piece of shit. Fraud. And got no problem taking the money and making the money like most people. Then when there's a problem, this is why 90% of people rat.
I mean, it sounds like you really just got screwed over by having bad company for the most part.
Again, my fault.
Yeah.
I chose that. I didn't see things like I learned a lot of things over the years of my life in prison and since then about reading people and understanding that trust is it's actually doing a disservice to people when you say you trust them in the way that we understand it in our idiomatic expression, right? And what do I mean like that? It doesn't mean that I don't trust people. It means that I trust people to be them. And when we typically in our usual idiomatic expression say it, we trust them to be good to us is what we're thinking. We trust them not to fuck us over. We trust them to not betray us. Well, bro, listen, you're doing that person a disservice because the biological imperative is survival. And you're doing yourself a disservice by placing trust where the probability for that trust does not exist. Right? Like, so, but it's a comforting word and it makes us feel good and fuzzy at night. But the truth is that trust is only as good as the definition of it, meaning how do you apply it in the sense that I now trust people to be themselves.
Yeah.
I do not anymore think, oh, I trust it because this dude brought me $1 million and there was nothing missing. I trust him for that specific thing, but to assign a blanket trust for him when I haven't seen him that happen when his mom just got diagnosed with cancer, insurance isn't covering it, and he needs 700 grand to save her life.
Yeah.
Is my million still going to show up?
Yeah, that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, but we don't know that. But when we say trust, we're saying we trust them. And then when we feel betrayed, listen, bro, I would have almost less respect for somebody who could save their mother's life by stealing from someone else if that's what it took and didn't do it. Maybe that's skewed, but I would almost have less respect for them. It doesn't mean I'd be okay with it.
Didn't do it?
Yeah, if that's what it took to save your mother's life.
I think you have to, right?
Yeah,
I mean, fuck,
so I
man.
would almost have less respect for them. Doesn't mean just, that brings up another interesting thing. Doesn't mean just because I respect what you did that I'm okay with it, right?
For sure.
It's the same way, like most of the people that I've made money with in my life, I never liked them, but I respected them. I wouldn't want them around. I didn't like going out to dinner with them. I didn't like the way they dress. Many people, there's some I liked, but many people that I didn't like, but I respected the way they handled their business.
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of something you learn in prison too, walking around with people who have these crazily diametrically opposed worldviews or different distinct worldviews. You're not going to agree on some things. Like, I'm Jewish and I'm in prison and, I'm white. I know skinhead dudes. I was actually friends with some of them, right? Like being able to hold different opinions from people but maintain respect is a quality I think that's missing in the general population, right? It's
100%.
It's a skill set that prison people could tell you, right? Now, there were some skinheads who are totally, and I'm like them, right? But because white dudes are short in prison, you can't go at each other unless there's a legit reason.
Yep.
If you're a stand-up guy and you're not a rat. And so you have to maintain a level of respect. It's like it was explained to me by Bobby Ray, the head AB dude there when I got to the yard at USP Lompoc. He said, you might not like them and they might not like you, but you're on the same team. And if they're getting beat up by another race, you got to back their play. And if you're getting beat up by another race, they've got to back yours. And anybody who doesn't has to answer to me.
That's interesting that you were
Yeah.
told that by.
Yeah, well, I mean, so that's the dynamic, but let's blow it out to America, right?
Mhm.
You're Democrat or Republican. Why can we not maintain respect for the other side? The fact that Americans think that the most patriotic thing they can do today is fight other Americans indicates we've got a major fucking problem.
Yeah, we're supposed to all be on the same team regardless of who we vote for.
And the
what our
truth is that
opinion
we got here together. Neither party can be trusted to its own devices. There's crazies in both fucking sides.
Yeah.
And we got to having the best thing going together, right? Like, and now, and you take it back through history, every empire has fallen first from internal struggle, not from external attack.
Yep.
And whether it's social media or our enemies or ourselves, we've allowed ourselves to believe that the most patriotic thing we can do is crush the other party, who are also Americans.
Mm-hmm.
That is to me, that is the greatest threat that we face. It's not China or Iran or trade or tariffs or dollar or economy. The greatest threat that America faces right now is the fact that Americans believe that the most patriotic thing they can do is fight other Americans.
Do you think that'll ever change?
Well, it didn't used to be like that.
Yep.
You're younger, but when I was growing up, nobody cared who you voted for. It wasn't the central topic, right? Like, and the fact that it's become so polarized, and I blame the press for this. I blame leadership for this because people tend to be influenced by these things because the press and government at the end is ultimately crowd control mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
Religions, they're all crowd control mechanisms.
For sure.
To a greater or lesser degree. And so in order to control crowds, you influence crowds, right? Like especially in the West, like there's a collective power. Like China has a very strong collective power.
Yep.
And relatively weaker individual powers. In the West, we have a higher individual freedom or power, relatively speaking,
Mm-hmm.
and a weaker collective power, even that we might be stronger militarily or financially. Collectively, like, we're not as strong because we pay more attention to the individual.
We're not united.
Yeah, also, even if we were, the individual rights that we all possess mean that the government can't just say fuck you.
Yep.
In some cases. Whereas in China, there is no adversary party going against whatever the Communist Party decides. So there's no fight there. Their collective power as one China, and all the Chinese understand this, that it's China first, Chinese second. In America, it's supposed to be Americans first, America second, right? It's a government of the people, for the people, by the people. Now, it's not that anymore, but still, relatively speaking, compared to authoritarian regimes, we have a much greater individual power.
Absolutely.
Than other places in the world.
We have a lot more freedom than most still, but not as much as we should maybe.
Yeah. And part of that, listen, I leave that debate to other people, whether certain freedoms needed to be abridged for legitimate security reasons or not. And I think the truth is some yes, some no, right? But like everything, it gets abused. Once they find a way to take this, they're going to use that same thing to take something else because that's the nature of power and the aggregation of it. It's, the example I use all the time is each successive president, Democrat or Republican, has used more executive powers than the previous one, while complaining during the election about the executive powers that the incumbent currently abuses.
Yeah.
Right? It's pretty funny if you think about it. They all say the same shit.
Yeah. I mean, Trump's issued a crazy amount of executive orders this term
I
specifically.
think when you look at Trump, without getting into the politics of personal preference or whatever, I think when you look at Trump, when you look at Biden, when you look at Trump, you look at Obama, and you look at Bush. I believe that these presidencies, maybe with the exception of Obama, but these presidencies were not people voting for something. These were people voting against something. And while Obama did represent, this, even from my point of view, and I tend to be more on the conservative side, even from my point of view, he didn't have a career in politics. And so I felt like they didn't have as much smut on him and that meant they didn't have as much control of him to stay within the lines. And he came in with such a sweeping mandate and this feel-good hope and change thing. People voted for him, right? And he had an opportunity that many presidents didn't have. But I also think there was a huge amount of people that were just disgusted with the Bush thing, because while he was having a pretty good presidency when the Twin Towers fell and then Iraq and this fucking never-ending war on terror, right? That, that's a whole other stuff. But I think people were sick of that, right? And so you had a lot of Republicans that moved into this isolationist type thing, right?
By the end of Bush's second term, people were completely over it, for sure.
Yeah, they were totally over it. So, but Obama came in, and I think people actually voted for him. But I think it can be said both things. And then a reaction to Obama was, voting against Hillary was what got Trump in the first time.
Yep.
Right. And then voting against Trump is what got Biden in.
Yeah.
And then voting against Kamala and continued Biden policies is what got Trump back in.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all.
And
you're not wrong at all.
We haven't been voting for people. We've been voting against people. And because Trump is back in and did win the popular vote and didn't win by a landslide, he has a mandate. And in order to try and do what he needs to do in 4 years, again, without getting into individual things, his only option to do that is with executive order.
Yep.
Right? Because he's not going to have 8 years if he's only got 4 years.
Yep.
So I think that's what his electorate voted for, whether they continue to support them as these programs play out. That's the question for every president. That's the question for every political party at every, we're going to have the midterms. We'll see if that majority. Now, since I can't vote, I don't give a shit because I'm a convict. There's no voting for me.
It's fucked up. Real quick, y'all, it's time to talk about Only Gas because we don't have a sponsor today, so I'm the sponsor today. And listen up. You can go get yourself a $50 ounce of Smalls on Only Gas, and it's beautiful. And I just highly support it. I think this is honestly my favorite brand ever, and no bias at all, besides the fact that it's my brand and I own it and everything. We just ship good stuff right to your door, and that's why you should go probably search it up on Google or something. I'm not going to say any more than that. What I will say is enjoy the rest of the episode because Louis is probably the most fascinating man I've ever spoken to, and I'm sure he would love to smoke some Only Gas. Enjoy the show.
I don't have a horse in the race. I skew socially liberal and financially conservative.
Yep.
Like, I'm like, yeah, you can dress as a trans, but no, my tax money shouldn't pay for your sex change.
I'm pretty close to that, I think, as well.
Yeah,
I would say.
You know, hey, smoke your weed, have your gay marriage, do your
hell yeah,
fuck who you want,
do whatever you want. I just don't really feel like paying for it.
It doesn't have to be a public issue, right? It's not.
Yeah.
This isn't a public. Hey, listen, there was certain discrimination against gays and homosexuals was real, and the laws have corrected that. And
Absolutely.
Okay, now we can move on. Rather than I'm really not with this. Let's put the trans thing in the schools. I'm kind of against that, right? One, taxpayer money pays for schools and education should be happening there, not mental health interventions.
Yeah.
And two, I don't believe we should be celebrating mental health issues. I think we should be treating them. And, so I look at that as completely different than gays, homosexual men and women, or bisexual people or asexual people or whatever, right?
Do you think that being transgender is a mental illness?
I do think so.
Interesting.
I do.
Interesting.
Think so.
Why do you think that?
Because people who've gone through trans, if you look at them and the part of the LGBT movement really tries to suppress this. But there's a ton of information out there of people who have actually had sex changes that regret it later and realize they were just gay.
Interesting.
And I think, and I don't know, and I'm always one to say, hey, listen, the difference between us and animals is we can think about why we think what we think, right? An animal knows it's hungry, it knows it's tired, but we can think about why we think, right?
We have an inner
and
monologue.
So when we get new information, if there's new information for me that tells me that this is not a mental illness or not a large percentage of a mental illness, or that it doesn't create a mental issue going through this. So I think it's rooted in that one way or another. I'm happy to reconsider my position based on that information. But I do think that it is based on people who've gone through and have had time, and also knowing what it's like to be 12 and be confused. I wanted to be a fucking hamster so I could run around on the wheel with the fucking hamsters I had. Right?
Yeah.
Like I had a like I was really into that. Like I remember thinking the hamsters had a fucking ball that you could put them in and they go run around on the grass. I used to think how fucking cool that would be.
Yeah.
And I wish I was a hamster.
Yeah.
Right now, fuck, bro, how much more complicated is it 12, 13, 14 when you're a guy and you're not attracted to women and you're attracted to men? Part of that, one answer is, hey, I'm going to come out, I'm going to be gay. Or one answer is, hey, I'm going to hide it, but I'm gay. Another answer is, let me make myself normal. I'm attracted to men, so let me make myself a female.
Interesting.
So that I'm normal.
Interesting.
So if you're not going to at least explore those three things with kids before you give them hormones and crazy fucking shit that's irreversible, that requires a mental health evaluation. And that's why I believe that, because even if I'm proven wrong that for some people it's not a mental health issue, and I'm not talking about hermaphrodites that are born with both sets of genitalia, neither one dropped or both dropped or whatever, right? Like that's also a biological issue. But if I'm proven wrong, okay. But I don't see where you eliminate the mental health aspect of it and have a clean conscience about doing these types of procedures and I think they should be 18 years old, because I think if you're going to do something that's irreversible, bro, if you can't smoke a cigarette, you can't drink a fucking beer, and you can't get a tattoo, you can't cut your dick off.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean,
I think, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the stance of being transgender as a mental illness, but I would say I generally agree with that. I think at the bare minimum, there should be some sort of threshold of like, if someone who's below 18 wants to get that kind of surgery, they should have some sort of mental health evaluation first of like, do you really genuinely want that? Is this something you're being pressured into? That kind of thing. Because that's a life-altering thing.
And time should go by because we change our minds. Everybody who's been a teenager knows the thing that was so important to us at 13 embarrassed us at 14. Right? We all know that. Like, this is a universe. I don't care what country you're born in. I don't care haves, have-nots, whatever. There's certain things that are important as we're younger, and those important things change. And sometimes we're even embarrassed by the things we did or thought when we were younger, right? Like, so I'm a big believer that at least 16, but those... And I'm also, because I think school is a public thing and it's paid for by taxes, I think it's got no place in the schools. Now,
interesting.
One last point, other than tolerance. Hey, if you want to dress like a girl and you're a boy, hey, whatever.
Fuck
dude,
it, dude.
free.
It's America.
You know what I mean?
It's
you want to
America,
experiment with that? Great. I'm talking about, encouraging this type of stuff, taking the question out of the parents' hands, giving kids these kind of medications and stuff like that. To me, that's just a no-go before 18. That should not be in the schools. Only teaching tolerance in general for races, religions, and sexual orientations, and people's self-image. As long as people understand, I think this is also a clear point, the person who's receiving the tolerance has to understand that they're receiving tolerance, not that people are also making believe along with them. Yeah. And I think there's a subtle but very distinct difference between the two. One causes resentment of the greater public, right? And the other and a warm sense of feeling in the minority. And the other one is, I think, more even balanced. Hey, yeah, you can recognize that you're different.
Yeah.
You have boys' clothes. You can recognize it because you put on girls' clothes. So you
Yeah.
recognize that. So recognize that people are being tolerant of you. Don't expect them, they're giving you your human rights.
Yeah.
But don't expect them to play your fantasy with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think another good example of that is, there's more than trans is there's people born with 6 fingers, which is an actual biological issue, right? You're born with 6 fingers.
Yep.
We don't make glove companies produce 6-finger gloves.
Yep. Those 6-finger people just got to figure it the fuck out.
They got to figure it out, right? Now, I understand that this is a little bit more sensitive than a glove.
For
right?
sure.
This is a human life we're talking about. I just use it as a reference point, but I do think that people who are receiving tolerance, gratitude, appreciation should be respected. Hey, I'm different and I'm getting treated the same. You should recognize that just as clearly as you recognize that you're different.
Yeah, I mean, I think the stance that you have, while I will say I agree with some of it, I don't agree with all of it. Like, for example,
Just like last time.
For sure. It's the way it is, bro. I mean, I respect where you come from with it because I don't think you come from a place of hate. Like, I don't think you say this out of hatred. At the end of the day, like, you can be tolerant. You can understand where other people come from, and that's your belief. You're not saying fuck these people. You're not saying I don't like these people. That's just your belief.
Yeah, I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah,
I believe listen, bro. If you want to go dress like a girl and you want to have a sex change operation,
fuck yeah.
then when you become what we as a civilization in the United States of America has decided is an adult age, where you can get a tattoo, you can drink a beer, and you can smoke a cigarette. And you want to make a life-changing choice like that, at that point, you're more than welcome to.
100%.
I mean, and as long as it's got nothing to do with the schools, and as long as it's got nothing to do, nobody's going to pay for my cigarettes or my beers or my life choices, right? Like, we're not going to pay for other people's life choices, but the freedom to do it and to be treated with respect, and I'm a big person, you don't have to like somebody to treat them with respect. Humans deserve respect, even if you
absolutely
don't, even if your personal taste doesn't skew there. And it's not that I even dislike them. I'm saying even if I did, they still are entitled to human respect.
Absolutely,
as a human being.
I'm a big believer in. I mean, every person at the end of the day has the right to just live how they want to, and that's also a big part of what I feel like America is. Like this country that we're in is built upon just like, freedom of speech. We could say whatever we want. We could be whatever we want. That's what it's all about. So, like, fuck it. If you want to go do that, whatever, just don't tread on what I want to do. No one's anyone doing what they want to do to live, it shouldn't impact someone else's ability to do that,
Yeah, I also think that just because you have one other point I want to make, just because at a certain stage in life we might have a mental health crisis.
Yeah.
In the case we're talking about when kids are in their adolescent years, that doesn't mean that they can't grow past and into that and be trans later without a mental health issue.
For sure.
Because we can absorb new things. But I think for anybody to act like it's not in the very beginning, when these feelings and thoughts first come up, when we're not even able to fully reason yet, our brain isn't developed, to not want to treat this as a mental health issue is just, to me, that's just wrong. And, if I'm shown evidence otherwise, which I haven't been shown,
I'd love to see a real like scientific study into it. I'd love to see like some sort of, I don't even know how they would study it, but just some sort of like, I don't know, take 1,000 young people that, identify as trans and just pick their brains about it.
The crazy thing is like, the minute you do that study, right, you have, like the things, the minute you do that study, you're going to attract more people who aren't, right? Like they looked at kids who are identifying as, gay, queer, trans, everything over the last, 4 years, the Biden years, right?
Yeah.
And if that trajectory continues, there's not going to be any straight people in like 10 years.
I mean, I don't know if it's going to get there.
But you create the in-group, out-group thing, right? The cool kids now are in this group, and kids want to be cool.
Yeah.
right? And we got to be careful of that. This is what I mean about not celebrating it and treating it as a mental health issue, because kids are impressionable. I'm not speaking down or as from a superior position to anybody. I'm only speaking from my own experience and the experience of my peers. Like, I was impressionable when I was younger. And, you know, our mental faculties aren't fully built out. We don't have experience. We're being crammed tons of memory stuff in school. Our brain isn't optimized yet. And, you know, then we have these social pressures for the first time. You go from, ooh, girls are nasty, to, oh, yeah, I really want a girlfriend. You know, this is like a rite of passage.
That's a puberty thing.
Yeah,
though, no?
These things are kind of confusing, though. So trans kids have puberty.
Yep.
Gay kids have puberty. Bi kids have puberty. So they're still going through all that same stuff. And that's why, I mean, nobody's effectively convinced me that.
I think another big aspect of it too is like being gay has become socially acceptable very recently. Like, that's a pretty new phenomenon, that like being gay is like something you can openly talk about and not get like hated on, you know, whatever that means for the time, you know? And I think, on one end, people that are young that have those thoughts, you know, maybe it is something that they won't believe later in their life. But also, I think part of that being cool, in a sense, being acceptable now, is people that were previously closeted, people that, you know, maybe some dude who had a wife, but secretly he's fucking a dude on the weekend. You know, there's a lot of that in history. Roman people, for example, were super gay.
Yeah.
You know, the Romans were gay as hell, dude. The Spartans were gay as fuck. Yeah. I mean, in history, that was something that, like,
Alexander the Great, greatest conqueror ever.
Alexander the Great, gay, dude. I mean, he was, you know, that's something that's prevalent throughout history, but not as documented because it wasn't generally socially acceptable. You know, I think if, like, you put iPhones in all the Romans' hands and you gave them TikTok, they'd be posting videos with their like gay Roman bathhouse homies, you know, all day. And it would be cool. And they'd be hashtagging it. They just didn't, it wasn't part of society yet.
Well, things are cyclical, but I always look at this, right? When I think it's great that gays are not discriminated. I have a lot of gay friends. Like, they're funny as fuck.
Yeah. They're
also pretty fucking judgmental, dude. For all that accepting and respecting and everything, dude, they are very, very judgmental.
For sure. For sure.
I wouldn't exactly call them the most inclusive.
Yeah.
Everybody is hunky-dory, kumbaya people. Like, they're pretty vicious with it. But things are cyclical. And if you look, for example, in anthropological history, it's only been in the last 100 years that slavery has been decided that that's not a good thing.
Yep. That is also a really new phenomenon.
Right? For 300,000 years of anthropological history, relatively speaking, we don't see it in our life, right? Because none of us are 100 years old. But for 300,000 years of anthropological history, slaves were a normal thing, right? And okay, we've evolved and we recognize that. And I think, you know, hey, the Romans or the Greeks, they might have recognized certain things, and then the pendulum swings, you know, and then it's acceptable now, it's not acceptable, this and that. So I think probably throughout the course of history, it's been like, you know, on a trajectory to where, at least in liberal democracies, it was always going to get to where it is today.
Yeah.
Because that's a core tenet. Look, you have your personal freedom, dude. You want to put a fucking cock in your mouth, go ahead. Less competition for the chicks.
You know? More ladies for us.
Yeah.
More ladies for us, you know? We need more gay people out there, you know? Now, another thing that I really wanted to kind of pick your brain about, kind of switching topics a little bit here, is I'm really curious to kind of pick your brain about drug trafficking in general, outside of like what you specifically did, but like, today is very different from when you did it. You know, technology is different. Times are different. If you had to like get back into it, let's say today you said, yo, fuck it. I want to ship a box somewhere, or I want to get a box over here. How would you even start? How would you get the ball rolling?
Well, look, I've thought about it, and I mean,
it's got to be tempting.
No, I don't want to go back to prison, bro. I did enough time. I don't, you know, I'm too old for that shit.
You served a long time.
Yeah, I don't. That's not for me anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say how I would do it because I don't want to give any ideas. But I will say this: that the technology change can be a problem, or it can be an asset, because technology operates based on rules.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's an algorithm running in a background, rather than a cop walking through a room full of packages and picking some out randomly, if there's an algorithm that's picking those packages out randomly, then what you have to do is ship in such a way that you're not going to hit that algorithm.
You have to blend in.
Somehow, some way. I mean, kind of very similar to what we did back then, which was using other existing high volume accounts.
Yeah.
You know, the problem for people starting out is one, I mean, do they have enough money to go to containers or pallets in the beginning? I don't know. Then they have to learn about freight forwarders, and that's always tricky because those are higher risk because you're sharing container space with other people. Then you customs brokers. You got to learn the regulations. You've got to know what products are accepted in what countries. Lots of times people ship shit that's not accepted there. A common mistake I see people make from here sending to the UK, for example. Back then, a common mistake is VCRs. Dude, it's different power over there. And a VCR, when you're shipping it and a cop opens a fucking container full of fucking VCRs, right? Oh, that's easy. Let me pull a couple out and look at it. Now they open a container and fucking see a shit fucking sewer pipe, right? That's going back to some German company to have repairs. That's like, dude, they're not fucking going in there.
Yeah, they don't
right?
want to touch that.
Or you buy a fucking MRI machine hull, right? You know, $100,000 pieces of equipment. And you just have the hull. You have the magnet, which will disrupt the scans, right? This was always an idea of mine. You have the magnet that'll disrupt the scans, and then you've got this hull that you could probably fit, you know, hundreds inside the whole shell and maintain the same weight integrity, right?
Yep.
And it's crated, and it goes in a container. Are the cops going to take apart a $1 million machine?
Probably not.
That's going from a medical device place to a medical
Sounds
establishment.
like a great
address.
cover to me.
Yeah, no, they're probably not. Like, so I would think out of the box. The problem is the more out of the box you get, the higher your costs are to start. So what do people have? Oh, I got a pound of weed. Oh, I want to get it to Denmark or Amsterdam or UK or Sweden or wherever, right? Well, 1 pound of weed, how much can you spend shipping and still make a profit? Well, I'm going to get 5 pounds of weed. Okay, how much can you spend shipping and still make a profit? Well, now I'm going to get 10 pounds of weed. Okay, how much can you spend shipping? It's the same question.
Yep.
Right? So you're at small scale, which is where most people start, you're limited by what you can do. At big scale, it doesn't matter if you're spending 10,000 shipping if you've got fucking 2,500 fucking pounds in the container. Who cares? If you're going overseas, $250 a pound, all in is good.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yeah. You know, if you're obviously higher priced goods, cocaine, same shit. You know, like people, when we did private jets, a lot of people commented, oh, they didn't pay 200,000, this, that, give people $250,000 and did it. Dude, we're bringing over 1 million pills back that cost us less than fucking 40 cents after you trade cocaine for them.
Yeah.
That are at wholesale are worth $5 million. Yeah. We spent 500 grand bringing them back. Yes.
Worth.
You know, people don't understand the relative nature of it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, 40 cents a pill, like these margins sound absurd.
no, even it was even cheaper because it got even cheaper. But I'm just using that as a round number. Like, but you know, you're sending a $15,000 kilo, you're getting 32,000 pills back.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
32,000
that's
pills
what it was.
is a lot of fucking
Then
pills.
we started trading the kilos for oil. Then we took over the refineries. Then we were doing even better. And then I had actually 2 gay guys out of San Francisco. They wanted to buy, you know, I used to sell 200,000. They wanted to buy 200,000 pills but they wanted to pay $4, not $5.
Gay guys love ecstasy. Dude.
Oh yeah,
they probably took them all
every night Saturday night. Every night
That was
Saturday
a personal
night for them,
stash,
and they're
dude.
great business too. Yeah, because they have disposable income.
Yep.
Typically, no wife and kids.
Yep.
Every night Saturday night, if you go to the gay parts of town, every fucking place is packed every night, right? Like every night's New Year's Eve there, and so great. And they're super respectful, and they're happy. People just treat them with respect of human beings and do straight business with them.
They're good for it.
They wanted to pay $4 a piece. They asked me, "Hey, is there any way we can do this where we pay $4?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And they said, "What is it?" And I said, "Well, you're going to give me the money 2 weeks in advance, and then you're going to pay $4 a piece." So I'd take their 400 grand. I'd put 100 grand in my pocket off the rip. I buy 20 keys. I ship it over there. I get 640,000 pills. Bring them back. Say 100,000 of those pills cost my expenses, everything. So 540,000 pills left. I give them their fucking 200,000 pills.
You've got a
And
bunch
I have
of free bills. Yeah.
350,000 pills left.
You could do whatever the fuck you want with those. That's crazy. Did you have
That
any,
was for
like,
100,000 count. Sorry.
Was there ever like a type of person that you would say was just the best to deal with typically? Like gay guys, or like who was like typically the best type of person to deal with?
The best type of people to deal with were in the beginning when you're selling, right? You're like, people are always wanting credit, right? Credit. Everybody wants credit.
Yep, of course.
So the first thing is, if they bring money for some, then you give them credit for some, right? If those people are consistently paying for more and more, not doing bigger and bigger credit, those are the people that you want. Because you're less, one, they have a better business acumen, and two, they're less susceptible. You're less susceptible to problems because they have cash. When you're fronting it to somebody that's got no fucking money and is counting on the transaction to make their money and to pay you,
fall out from
and
under
can't
them at
cover,
any moment.
Yeah, anything can happen. If you see people are paying a higher and higher, their scale might be going up, and they might still be taking credit, but you can tell they're bringing back some of their profit every time.
Yep.
Besides paying you what they owe you. Those are the people you want to feed.
Interesting. Was there anyone that comes to mind that was really good at that? Like, did you have one, like, who's your favorite customer?
Yeah, drag queen out of Miami, and two gay guys out of San Francisco. They were ended
Dude, the
up being my two
LGBTs
best
are good
customers.
at fucking hustling, I guess.
Yeah.
They get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, the drag queen, he was great too. I mean, they were both great. Actually, all three of them. It was two guys up in San Francisco, and they all got away.
So let's say, hypothetically, I wanted to become a drug trafficker. I was like, fuck it. I'm going Louis Ziskin. What do you think I should choose as a drug? Do you think ecstasy is
I don't know.
still
What's
good,
your
or-
risk tolerance?
Let's say I don't have a
Every
ceiling.
drug has a different sentence attached to it. Like weed is not a big deal anymore, right? Like cocaine, it's not looking good if you get caught. Ice, even worse.
Yep.
Rock cocaine, even worse. Fentanyl,
Done for.
yeah, done for.
Done for.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, you want to talk biggest profit margins is, ice to Singapore, Malaysia. But you'll die if you get caught. Tokyo, but these you're taking a $10,000, $12,000 unit here and turning it into, 200 grand. Cocaine to Australia is really good too. But the reason why is it's much harder to crack Australia, right? Like, so, the first thing you got to understand is what's your risk tolerance for doing time. And then the second thing you got to understand is what is your operating capital? How much money do you have to start? Right? Like, just like Only Gas, how much money did it cost you to start it?
Fucking enough. I'll say that.
Yeah. So it's no different. It's no different. Right? I mean, this shit ain't taxed, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So
We have very good prices, actually.
yeah. But it's not, it's not going through dispensaries, right?
No, yeah, all
So it's
DTC
not taxed,
online.
it's not
so-
metric, it's not, so same shit.
Shout out the Farm
yeah,
Bill.
nobody cares about weed anymore,
Yep.
right? But like, it's a crime actually.
Yep. Well, I mean, under the Farm Bill, this is hemp technically.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
that's
it's not illegal, but it's good shit that people
Oh, even
smoking,
better. Good.
And that's interestingly, that's what a lot of people who used to be growing and shipping stuff illegally are doing now. They're just getting into this industry and running the same farms and just doing it legally. Just getting licensed and continuing their stuff.
Yeah, but they're also, they're playing games with the THCA.
Of course, of course. Yeah, well.
Yeah, so
of course they are.
Yeah, but it's no different. So how any business you want to start is basically the same question: how much capital do you have to start the business with, and what is your risk tolerance? So I think the advice would be the same in the drug world or the legitimate world or anything in between, right? What is it that you're looking to do, right? Is your thing that you want to make recurring revenue that covers your lifestyle expense? Is your thing that you need to make $3 million because you've got debt that you have to get out of? Or is your thing, hey, I've already got money, I want my money to work for me, right? Then you determine what your risk, that's what your risk tolerance is going to be determined by. And then you move forward, right? Are you going to invest in Bitcoin, which has high swings and high volatility? I think it's a great investment if you can close your eyes for 5 years. I don't think there's anything else that's going to come even close to it.
There's no type of day trading Bitcoin. Like, honestly, you need to buy it and forget.
But do you have only $25,000 and you have a $12,000 a month nut, and that's all you're concerned with because you have kids and you don't want to take any chances? Then I'd tell you to go get a fucking Subway.
Damn, Subways are cheap, huh?
Well, I think that's the franchise cost. I don't know what it is to open it, right? But you could finance it, right? You can finance the opening once you have the franchise thing because they're known to make, I don't know if it's still true. This was several years ago. I read it, but you can look at these franchise numbers and know which ones make what and pick one in a location where you find, do your research about location and demographics and what location and demographics work for the highest selling stores in that franchise and try to duplicate that as much as you can.
Yeah.
And then move forward. And, if you want to, hey, if you want money just to make money with very low labor associated with it, then I would become a hard money lender. I'd lend money to developers who are building real estate because your money's secure because you have the real estate as security, right? And you're getting higher interest rates, 13, 15, 18% and 3-4 points, 8 points. I've heard some of it goes up to. So I think that's a good one, and the only work you've really got to do is if a deal goes upside down, you foreclose on the property, maybe have somebody finish it but at least your money's secure and it's growing at a rate that beats the market.
Yeah. So let's say hypothetically, I have no risk or like no ceiling on my risk tolerance, right? I have hella money.
Oh, then you want to send ICE to Asia.
That's the play. To Singapore specifically or just Asia in general?
Singapore, Malaysia, China. I mean, why stop there? If you're not worried about having a bullet in the back of your head a week later, then,
We'll assume that I don't. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
How do I mean, it's got to be hard to even find people who will take that from me in those countries, right?
That's the first thing. Not only that, there's another question. You find somebody who will take it from you in that country. You also have to find somebody who will take it from you and actually pay you once they get your money. It's a huge amount of money coming back. This is what I tell people all the time when they say, oh, I'm going to do this or that or the other thing. I go, the first thing that most people don't understand is you think you know somebody, right? You don't know them until they owe you money for that product and pay.
Yeah.
You have a concept of a connect. You don't have a connect until you prove that person has received your shit and paid. And then if you send them $20,000 worth of stuff and they paid $20,000, all you know is they're a connect that's good to $20,000. That doesn't mean you can send them $100,000 and still get it. At a certain point, it might become worth it to them to just rob you and take their chances.
Yeah, you can't even be sure you'll get another 20,000
so
back.
more important than the method is the person who's going to pay you, the connect. Who are you doing this business with? Then once you have that solved, then you can worry about product and method.
Okay.
But that is the most valuable component.
So let's say I find the perfect guy. I'm going to Singapore. I've got my fucking meth. And now I need to figure out how to get it over there.
Okay, so I would go on the Trade Commission over there in Singapore, and I would go on the State Department here, and I would find what is the biggest volume of goods and services shipped between our two countries.
That's info that's publicly available?
Oh, yeah, you can find out.
Interesting. Okay.
So trade, whatever the trade is, I'd go World Trade Organization, I'd go everywhere. Then I'd go on Import Genius. I'd spend, I don't know, maybe it's $4, $5, $6 a month. And I'd look at all the containers and bills of lading that are going from here to Malaysia, from here to Singapore, from here to Indonesia, any of the countries, wherever my connect was. And I'd see what's actually getting shipped. I'd look at trade deals. I'd look at what tax implications are. And then I'd start narrowing it down to products that would work. And then I would put private investigator. I'd find companies that do those. I'd see if any of them were in financial trouble, and I'd try to leverage their existing shipping line. Now, if I could find that they were in financial trouble and were willing to do it, great. If not, put in private investigator on them and find compromising information to leverage that. Maybe they're already doing dirt.
Okay. I like that. So, you're gonna get a plug for that one way or another, effectively.
Yeah.
You're
managing to keep an arm's distance because you're not the actual one shipping it.
Yep.
So you have buffer zone when somebody gets busted.
Yep.
Right. Like you have, like we got tsunami warning, right? Hours in advance. You'll have a couple. Hey, that dude got busted. He knows me.
It's time to clean
so
house.
That's the first buffer zone, right? Yeah.
Time to figure this shit out.
If I was in that position where I absolutely had to and had no, where my mom needed $10 million for an operation to save her life, or my wife, or my daughter, or something like that, and I had to, and there was just no other way, but that operation.
Some people are getting fucked over. It sounds like
I would do what I needed to do.
Yeah.
I know that much about myself. It's, I would do what needed to be done in that moment, or at least try. Nobody can guarantee success, and I guess if you had an unlimited budget, you could go to setting up your own, wood flooring company, if that's something we send a lot there. You could go to setting up your own steel company, but I'm imagining that there's a certain time limit and urgency to your question. So I would go to leverage.
I like that. So let's say I find a shipping company that's making some bad decisions and they agree they're going to help me out. They need some money. I get my first shipment over there. Everything's looking good. What do I have to worry about with customs? Are they going to be searching my container immediately? Or
well, you're right. You're playing the numbers, right? If this company already ships there, 3, 4, 7
you're just
containers
hoping
a
that
month.
It's going to get through and not get.
Yeah, they've already been checked.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to maintain the same weight and volume of shipments.
Yep.
Right now, you might want to create a buffer for them, where they can say that this came from their supplier and they didn't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you might want to plant those seeds, like where they have plausible deniability.
Yeah.
Right? So depending on the product, like let's say wood flooring, right? And company X makes the wood flooring that I ship over there to construction companies for the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe you'd want to get it done in such a way that people on their yard would see. Maybe you'd want to get a company X truck and load your wood floor boxes with your dope and deliver it like company X delivers it.
Mm-hmm.
So when they bust the dude when they come to the dude who owns the company that's your partner, when they investigate or interview his people, they're going to say, hey, nobody packed that shit here. It came on that truck. We watched it like it always does. Now you throw it, now it's thrown off to company X.
I like this. This is some real out of the box thinking that we've got going here.
Yeah, I should charge for it.
You should. So let's say I got all that done, you know. Company X, I've got a fake truck for him. I drop my shit off. Everything's good. We got the buffer. Everything gets through fine. Now it's time to get my money, right? I head over to Singapore, you know.
So I wouldn't head over there. I would have them just send me crypto. See, crypto didn't exist in my day.
Yeah.
But if it did, it would have made it much, you know, the highest risk is being caught for drug dealing in Singapore or Indonesia or any of these Asian countries where the numbers are really nosebleed because of that, then I wouldn't go there. That's why I mean the number one thing is who's the connect you're working with and can you trust them to pay you? And whether it's 5%, 6%, whatever it is, to buy crypto with cash over there, I would have them send crypto. Crypto solves a huge problem, you know, you've got anonymous wallets, you've got cold storage, you've got everything, you know, you stay off the exchange and people say, oh, dirty crypto, this or that. But nobody in the underworld economy is twice the size of the regular economy. Nobody gives a fuck about Coinbase, dude. The Mexican drug cartels take crypto for cocaine. That's all you got to fucking know. It's never going to lose its value. And actually, the majority of the value of crypto is based on the fact that the underworld economy uses it. If it was only counting on the Winklevoss twins, it would be worth zero.
True.
No disrespect to them.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the way Bitcoin got started and got its first momentum was Silk Road, you know, and online drug trafficking. That's the way it...
And everybody knows the underworld economy is twice the size of the regular economy. And, you know, crypto is used in the underworld economy. And while the exchanges might call that dirty crypto because of their KYC laws, this and that and other thing, they also understand very clearly the economics of crypto. Without the underworld economy using it, you're not looking at $100,000 Bitcoins.
Yeah.
There's no world where that happens. The majority, and I would say the overwhelming majority, I don't care how many buy and sell there is on Coinbase every day. The majority of crypto transactions happen in the underworld.
Yep.
By far.
The only iffy thing is Bitcoin's pretty easily traceable.
Oh, so is USDT, so is that, but you have anonymous wallets and you have cold storage. All the people in the underworld economy, there's people that you can go and cash that out for a couple %, and there's people that you can go and take cash to and buy crypto for a couple %. They don't care. They're not really trying to put that money into Chase. If they are, they'll take it in cash and launder it again fresh, right? Like, that's what I mean. The value of crypto is because there's an economy within the economy that's got its own environment where it maintains its value.
So it sounds like pretty much no matter what, crypto will always be propped up by that underworld economy.
Of course, the underworld economy is twice the size of the regular economy. The underworld economy props up everything. Without people who made underworld money, most car manufacturers would sell less cars.
Yeah.
Every person who sells in the legitimate world would sell less. Every 5-star hotel would have less. Underworld money, 2/3. Underworld economy, again, twice the size of the regular economy, makes up 2/3 of regular economics. Cartier, Tiffany, all of them would sell less shit. There would be less economy. If there's less economy, there's less tax revenue, there's less services. To act like it's not dependent is crazy. Now, I know it's not, people don't want it. My mom's one of these, like when we talk, I love her to death, but if she doesn't like something, she chooses not to believe it, right? Like, I don't care whether people like that or not. It's 100% intertwined, and anybody that thinks it isn't is a fucking retard.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think, Bitcoin is an interesting one, especially as a currency, for drugs, because I wonder, like, what is the difference in percentage that, like, you get off the cash value? Like, if I have $100,000 in Bitcoin and I'm going to the cartel and being like, yo, I need some blow, what's the cash value of the blow they're going to give me?
$100,000, if that's where it's
just
at.
Straight up? Like, there's not going to be...
close, 5%. I mean, negligible.
Okay.
Negligible. They might even want
you're gonna
crypto
flip that for more anyways.
They might even, after they know you have crypto, probably they might even want crypto one day and call and offer you an extra to get crypto if you have more.
Damn.
So the crypto market, right? Like
Cartel
from
better
what
not know
I
me,
hear,
dude.
from what I hear,
Ooh.
my understanding is turning cash into crypto costs money.
Yes.
Turning crypto into cash is much, much cheaper.
100%.
Right?
Yes.
So that's my understanding of it.
I have heard some pretty crazy stories from friends about like getting Bitcoin without the exchanges. You know, it's a very
they all
interesting
do.
process.
And now, so they and like you said, it's easily traceable, so they can tell this crypto has potentially been in weapons transactions or drug transactions or whatever, right? And so, Coinbase, people don't want to put that on there, like because it could get seized. But who cares? Nobody's trying to put it on Coinbase, dude. They don't want to pay taxes. The underworld economy doesn't care. So yeah, everybody knows that the crypto's dirty.
Yep.
But in the underworld economy, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, and also with Bitcoin, you can run it through one of those tumbling services and clean it anyways.
Yeah, and if you want, that's money laundering. It's no different.
It is. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's just
you
a
can
digital
launder your
version.
crypto for a percentage.
It's a digital version of money
So
laundering.
besides being able to cash it out for cash and break all connection, you can also do the digital version of money laundering for a percentage. It's no different. It's no different.
Yeah.
But all those people who enjoy their Coinbase Bitcoin being 120 grand, 1,000% have the underworld economy 1,000% to thank for it. It is by no device of their own.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
It is by no device of their own.
Thank you.
Their investment was smart because an underworld economy exists, not the other way around.
Yep. That's how it's been since day one with Bitcoin. It started that way.
It's everything. There's no
car.
if there's no drug dealers or tax evaded money or money laundering or any kind of fraud or anything, there's no Cartier. There's no Rolex. There's no.
Yep.
There just isn't.
They take all that money and then they
the
act
value
stupid.
of those things is created by dope dealers and criminals.
100%.
Right? Like the Mercedes-Benz is going to sell less cars. There may be so many less. If there's no underworld economy creating this, ripple effect or resonance, maybe Mercedes-Benz doesn't sell enough cars to be a company.
Yeah. That's a realistic thing to say, honestly,
right? So everybody that enjoys legal world success and everybody that enjoys government benefits has this underworld economy to thank for it, because Cartier pays taxes, whether it's dirty money or clean money, on what they make, and that goes back into social programs, right?
Yep. 100%. So let's say I get my Bitcoin. My homie in Singapore, he pays me. Everything's over there. I did my first drop. I'm good. I'm feeling good. How do I get cash out of this Bitcoin? How do I meet somebody to help me do that? Who do I?
Well, I think here it's, you ask a friend, right? Like connections. It's not.
You got to know a guy who knows a guy.
It's who you know.
Yeah.
Right? Like.
And I mean, that's scary too, because a lot of those people potentially rob you.
Well,
right?
bro, you do the same thing like I used to do when I built up customers, right? They were good, like I was explaining to you before. They're good for 10,000 pills.
Yeah.
How do you sell them 1 million? You don't. Say, okay, dude, you want 1 million? No problem. Let's do 50,000. Oh, but I need 1 million. We're going to do 1 million, but we're going to do 50,000 first right now.
Yeah.
We're going to do that 20 times today. And you can have your 1 million. You have 100,000, 200,000 in cash that you need Bitcoin. Do 10,000 first. Test small. You have a risky, anytime there's a risk, divide that risk, diversify that risk. Never bring your $1 million all at once somewhere.
Yep.
Bro, fucking it's
Keep
$1
it
million.
separate.
It's not worth 20 fucking 10-minute car rides throughout the day to do it.
Yep.
Right? If it's not worth it, then you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, $1 million, I'll take 100 car rides.
Yeah. You can do 50 grand at a time. You can even build up to 50. You do 10, 25, and then, okay, we'll do 50. And then after you've done a few 50s, you can do 100. And after or 75, you can bite that risk off small. But I would never, if I was in that position, take the whole $1 million to someone that I needed to transfer.
Yep.
I'd ask them about 10 grand first. I wouldn't even tell them that I had $1 million.
I like that. I like that. Got to keep it low key.
Well, trust is based, like we were talking about earlier, on performance and only performance. Because you have to trust people to be themselves. And you don't know this person's character. You don't know the personal values that they hold dear. You don't know anything. So if I'm going to trust you to be yourself, right, then what I need to do is see you perform. So when I see you perform with 10, I can trust you there and I can decide to take a risk. Hey, I want to trust you with
Proven track record is it.
Prove your track record on 20. Now I can trust you on 20. And I decide if I keep raising the risk. There's a certain point, though, at which most people, when you get, now I'm giving you 10 million cash. You didn't rob me for $1 million. I'm giving you 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100. There's a certain point where somebody goes bad at, it's the same thing. I forgot what it's called, but in businesses, CEOs have this problem. Somebody does a great job, you promote them. Somebody does a great job, you promote them again. They continue to do a great job, you promote them again. At a certain point, you promote them to a place where they're not going to do a great job anymore, and that's your fault, not theirs.
Then you're in trouble. Yeah. So let's say, hypothetically, right? I'm all good. I've established this relationship on both ends. My guy in Singapore, he's trustworthy, sending me Bitcoin. My guy in the U.S., he's trading whatever to me for the Bitcoin, and everything's going good.
Hopefully you can get the guy in Singapore to send the Bitcoin straight to your guy so you don't have to. Again, the less touch points that you have, the better.
Yeah.
And really, if you're really in the game, it doesn't matter that your profit's going to the guy because it's just more units for you.
Everyone's making money.
You'd want more units, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're really going balls to the wall like this, you want more units. So, okay, instead of buying 100, you get 110.
Now,
you're gonna, instead of getting 10, you'd get 100 because you're 10xing your money if not more.
You're multiplying it as much as you can. So, I mean, once you're so deep involved in this, let's say one day, I come home and my girl's nagging me and she's like, you should retire from this. We have a kid. You should retire. How do you ever do that?
So I went through that. My ex-fiance, Kristen Williams, when we were rolling, was like, hey, we got $1 million. Let's go. It's done. And I was so into the fucking whole thing. I wasn't hearing that. That's the psychological issue or the mental health issue or the gambler's dilemma or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
Like did you have a clear set goal that you were going to get out at X amount of dollars? And once you get there, can you really? Like, hey, I'm up 100 grand. There's no reason why I'm not going to be up 150. I'm not going to get up from the table and take this 100 grand. I'm going to keep letting the dealer turn the cards over.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, you end up at zero.
But as long as you're winning, you're not stopping that shit.
Yeah.
Gravy train's flowing. Yeah.
That's why they can build casinos in recessions and none of them go bankrupt.
Yep. I mean, casino seems like an interesting way to spend your drug money. There's probably a lot of people that do that now.
I think casinos are good, especially European casinos, South American casinos for laundry, right? Because they don't care where your cash comes from, but then you go in there and if you're disciplined, like I did this in London, right? Like I'd go in and they give you chips. And then when you get the money back, it comes in bank wrap plastic. When you cash your chips in, it comes in bank wrap plastic, 50-pound notes, bank wrapped with the plastic sealed, everything. And then in the beginning, before we were trading for the oil, and we were just getting cash for the Coke, that's how we'd transport them. And if you got fucking caught, it says casino on it. It says like it comes from the bank. Like it's, like if you get stopped in the airport in Amsterdam, it's fucking clean money.
Yeah. Even
bringing it back here to the States, it was clean. Where'd you get it? Oh, I went at the casino. Now you're fucking, you're paying taxes on it. You're filling out the form so it doesn't get seized. Because even if it's clean and you didn't fill out the form,
it's gone.
They can take it.
They're withholding
right?
it.
Yeah. You could fight to get it back probably because it's clean. But as long as you declare it, and when they look at it, they say, yeah, who are they to say you didn't?
Yep.
Came from the casino. Who are you they're going to say, oh, but you cashed in this much and you brought this much. You brought this much out. Yeah, I lost mine and my friend loaned me some chips and then I won his. That's how come I ended up with this cash?
I mean, they've got to get
So
suspicious.
there's
if
actually
you're-
no income because I had to pay my friend back the $300 in chips that he loaned me, and I'd lost that much that I cashed in of my own 5,000, and I won this 5,000 with my friend's 300 chips that he loaned me. I paid him back, so now I'm even. There's no tax liability, and it's clean money. Fuck off.
they've got to get suspicious pretty quick if you're doing a lot
Well,
of that.
if you get
now.
caught a lot,
Yeah,
right? If you,
true.
that's the thing. If you use the same, again, like we were talking about earlier, different accounts, different methods. The more methods and methods of operation that you have, the more diversified your trail is, the more diversified your risk is
Yep.
in anything. You know, even if you have a store and you're selling fucking widgets, you want more than one customer.
100%.
If you only have one customer, your business is at risk of that
I'm
customer.
fucked. Yeah.
If you have a Subway, you want to sell to more than one person.
Mm-hmm. I want 100 hungry motherfuckers out
Yeah,
front,
you want your regulars and you want transient traffic and you want,
Yep.
you want as many as you can get. It's
Everybody come inside my Subway.
the safer your business is, the more your risk is diversified.
For sure. So let's say, totally different type of risk. Let's say all of a sudden, someone that's, on my team gets busted. Whether it's the guy in Singapore who I'm shipping my stuff to, or the guy who I've been sending Bitcoin to get whatever from him. What do I do to protect myself?
Depends. Did the guy in Singapore get busted in Singapore?
Let's go with that. Guy in Singapore
And he
got
knows
busted.
you, but does he have evidence, your fingerprints on drug bags or shit? Do you have a shipment that's in the air while this happens?
Let's say,
or
all
on
right,
the
I'm going to
water?
play a scenario out. So I shipped him a container full of ice, it was in, I don't know, however I concealed it, kind of irrelevant to the story. But either way, it gets to Singapore, and once it gets to the port, they seize it there. They open the box, they're like, holy shit, look at where it came from. Let's say my guys, like, people were there, whoever's there to pick it up, they got busted with it. It's fucked, I realized pretty quickly, oh shit, he's getting arrested. They're going to ask him some questions. What do I do to protect myself in the case that
you should have protected yourself before. Like I told you, they're going to come to the company that shipped it, right? The wood flooring place. They're going to come there. If you would have done what I said before and created a buffer for them by having a company X truck deliver the stuff instead of packing it there at their warehouse, then you got to go to that person and tell them, hey, they're going to come and da-da-da. And remember, you got it from the supplier. Push them off there. That's it. And remember, your guys in the yard who don't know anything about this saw those supply trucks come, and we've never packed anything in your warehouse, so nobody here is ever going to testify against us. And you had it packed off-site so that all the workers there thought it was the same normal stuff. So your story is going to hold. Just stick with it. Now you're protected.
Interesting. So let's
So
say
when they come to you, they don't ever get to you
because of
dude.
that layer of
because they're going to
protection.
Company X now. They missed you in the middle.
And Company X still isn't. They don't
know anything.
Yeah, they don't know who the hell
They don't
I am.
know anything, but
They're like, what?
they're going to have there's going to be no evidence on them, so they're going to be fine too. But the cops are going to be suspicious of them for the longest.
For sure. So let's say I do that all perfectly. My partner in Singapore gets busted. I'm in some trouble, but I'm not going to get caught because I protected myself perfectly. Is it time for me to just tap out, or should I try to find a new partner, or what do you think?
Well, you should have never gotten in the first place. But if you were in, then yes, that would be time to tap out, or at least find a new country to operate in.
It's too hot in that
Because
country.
your company, your shipping line is dead. So
Yep.
you need to start over from scratch.
Yep.
Because even once this guy gets off the hook, that, they're going to, Singapore or Indonesia, they're going to put that in Interpol. That information is going to be there, and everything that company ships for the next however long
It's
is
getting
going to get
searched
searched.
forever. Yeah. They're cooked forever. Is there any
So you need to
countries-
start over. Now, if you need to start over, you need to know what country you're sending to,
Yep.
what products go there frequently, and then, start
You got to
over
go
again.
all the way back to step one and do your research again. Is there any countries that you would just totally avoid no matter what? Just
I
not
avoid
worth.
drug trafficking in all countries.
Okay, yes, but I'm saying like as let's say in my case, I'm a drug trafficker in this scenario. Is there any countries I should avoid totally that
Well,
are just
first I'd have to tell you.
not
Like,
worth doing business in?
first, I'd have to tell you, if we were friends, 99% of this shit ends up bad,
Yep.
and you shouldn't do it.
That's what it seems like.
And people always talk about the money and the girls or the boys, whatever your taste is, and the jewelry. And there's plenty of gay drug traffickers.
Yep. Hell
both
yeah.
male and female. And they all talk about that, right? Like, but what people don't talk about is there's not very many Meyer Lansky success stories. Beat every case and died of old age. You know, you can die on the street. You can be maimed. Even worse, you could be maimed on the street. Being, you know, like you could have life-changing violence visited upon you through no fault of your own, just because somebody else made you company X.
Yep.
Right? Like legs, limbs, whatever, eyes, like horrible things can happen besides prison, that prison would seem good compared to. And then ultimately prison, because again, the biological imperative is when anybody gets caught, which shit is going to get caught. If they catch a person along with it, the biological imperative is survival.
Yep.
And most people are scared of prison, and that dictates their terms. Again, like we talked about earlier, I was scared of prison too, right? But I
think everyone is naturally.
In those moments of fear, can you maintain your personal integrity?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's what sets people apart.
Well, I think it's what defines. It's human, right? So yeah, it's a defining characteristic, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that everybody who's informed is an inherently bad person that's going to rape your 6-year-old daughter. You know what I mean?
It's a crazy way to put it, but yeah,
no, but
for
I mean,
sure.
it doesn't. It's just, it doesn't mean that because they did that, they do this, right? It doesn't mean that they're. I think it means that they have an issue that would inform me if they're willing to burn their closest people or their family. If it's somebody who rats on their brother, for example, or somebody who rats on their dad, and I've seen all that, I'd look and I go, okay, if they're willing to do that to them, what are they willing to do to me in regular business, right? I think that informs me, but it doesn't mean that this person's just a horrible person across the board.
Yeah.
Right? But it does, I think, to ignore it as when you're making predictability assessments of whether you can operate with this person in any business or any field, I think you should not do that. It has to inform you, but it doesn't mean just because you didn't rat that you're a good person.
Yeah.
I did a lot of bad things in my life that were not good person things. Right?
Doesn't mean you're a bad person, though.
Well, but I'm saying just because I didn't rat didn't erase those things.
Yes, of course.
It doesn't, just because I didn't rat doesn't make me a good person. It meant that in a high leverage, high pressure situation, which has been true, what you could say about me is that in high pressure, high leverage situations, I perform better than average human beings.
It's a fair thing, I say. It's a fair thing to say.
But I don't think that you can take that and say you didn't rat. He's a good person.
Yeah.
I might be a good person, but that's not the defining characteristic. So
yeah.
I think the inverse also has to be true.
Interesting.
Just because you did rat doesn't mean that you're an all bad person.
That's honestly not what I expected out of you.
Well, I don't like
as
them.
Someone who's, been in prison for as long as you have, that's just not the take I would expect out of you.
I don't like informants. I choose not to associate with them. I'm not a criminal anymore, so I don't care. I never signed up a lifetime commitment to a mafia or a gang where I agreed to live by this code forever so I can look at it objectively, right? Like, I'm sure there's some guys that have informed that have done great things for the world. You know, then the world would probably consider them maybe even a better person than me. Now, I don't like them. I wouldn't want to do business with them. Again, I think it shows that if they're willing to do that, it's deeper than the fact that they chose to inform. It's the fact that they chose to operate in a criminal life. That was the first decision they made. And then when the shit landed on them, they made the decision to inform. We're not talking about somebody who's not a criminal who sees a crime.
That's
Yeah,
different. That's not
different.
snitching. That's just
But
being a
somebody
citizen.
who's a rat took the crime money. They got paid the $5,000 to drive.
Yeah, you signed up for a crime.
To drive 10 miles. Drive 10 miles. And that $5,000 got paid to you specifically because there's a chance that you could go to jail. You agreed to that.
Yeah,
willingly.
You signed yourself up for that risk.
You agreed to that, and you took the pay and you spent the money. If there was no chance of going to jail, it would have gone in an Uber for fucking $10.
Yep, would have drove it myself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? So you agreed to that, and then you broke that agreement is the bigger problem to me.
For sure.
Not just, hey, somebody sees something and tells if they're not a criminal, fine. I mean, they don't have any agreement. My agreement was with my friends, my associates, my connections was that, hey, I'm doing this business with you and I'm not going to rat on you.
Yep.
It wasn't a life encompassing thing. So there's a distinction there, right? Like I didn't sign up to live by that code forever. I didn't give what I gave is my word to a group of friends and some people that I knew. And I kept my word. And while it's the same net zero effect when a case comes, right? I think if you really want to talk about it, you got to analyze the distinction. And so, yes, I choose not to associate with people I know that have been informants at any level because I don't like them. I don't like that set of choices that led there, and I've thought it all the way out. But if I'm being honest or objective, I cannot say that there's not good people who've informed because I'm sure there are.
For sure. Yeah.
Better people than me as far as net effect on the world, I'm sure.
Yep.
So, we got to be, self-awareness and recognizing the perspective that we come from has to be taken into account when honestly discussing this subject.
What, if you just had a ballpark, throw a number on it, what, percentage of people that are put in a position where they can inform do you think do it?
95%.
Really?
Yeah.
That many?
Well, you can look it up. Look in the Federal Registry. It's between 85 and 95%. The reason why I don't go with the 85 number is I think there's 10% of people that tried to inform and the government told them no. We already know that, or you don't have enough information, or we've got too many rats on, you don't have valuable enough information.
So is informing, when people find out when you're in prison that you inform, you're obviously treated differently, right?
Well, it depends, bro. If you're in the pen, where I started in the United States Penitentiary, then yes, you're going to have fucking problems. You're not going to be walking the main line. But you get into a camp, it's all fucking rats, right? And then you get into the FCIs, like FCI Victorville 1, if you were a known rat, you're not going to walk the yard. That's more like a pen. Terminal Island now, or Safford, actually, when I was in Terminal Island, was a medium. It was a little tougher. Safford, Arizona was a low that I was in, or Coleman low, where I got paroled from, where I did the drug program. Those places, dude, there's fucking the whole yard's rats. Oh, you got fucking sex offenders walking, or child molesters walking the track talking about fucking in the open how to use a VPN not to get caught next time.
So it's got to be a safe jail for them.
Yeah, safe jail for them. And they put someone like me there only if you do the drug program successfully, you get a year off. You get out a year earlier. Only because that drug program's there would they put someone like me there. Right? Because they're kind of hoping that I'll fuck up there and smash one of these dudes.
Yeah,
and not get
they want to
off.
see you go back up to a shittier facility. Out of all the places that you had been to while you were serving time, was there any that come to mind as the worst conditions?
No, I think Safford was probably the worst conditions as far as living. Right? But maybe one of the, nicer joints in other ways. And what do I mean by that? When I was in the pen in Lompoc, which is higher security than that, obviously, I had a single cell.
That's got to be so
The cops
nice,
are
dude.
way more respectful. They do their 8 and hit the gate. Yes, crazy shit can happen. But, as far as, the higher you are in security has benefits, lower you are in security has benefits, and both also have drawbacks. You're with shittier people, shittier quality of person, in a low or a camp. I tell people this, it's a good example when we're talking about good person, bad person, rat, not rat. Like when someone doesn't rat that was in a drug business, high level drug trafficking, this is a person you can trust with huge amounts of money. This is a person that you can trust with huge amounts of dope. And this is a person that didn't fucking rat when all the chips were down. I'd trust him to babysit my daughter more than I would an informant.
Maybe, yeah.
No,
probably.
I would. I'm telling you, I would, flat out.
Wow. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess
more than a Wall Street white collar informant that wears fucking wingtips and fucking $5,000 suits and lives in New York in the high rise and works on Wall Street.
It does take a certain level of like morality.
If that person agreed to take the responsibility of watching my daughter, they're prepared to do way more to protect her than the Wall Street rat. That might be a good person and gives millions to charity.
I think you're probably right on the money with that.
Yeah. So
for sure.
It's a funny thing when you start talking about people's character. Hey, but this Wall Street dude gives millions of dollars in charity. That's something that the drug trafficker probably doesn't do.
True.
Right? So he's affected a lot of lives positively. Right? But on an individual level, I would trust the drug trafficker, potentially even a murderer if it was a hitman and not just a crazy, to protect my daughter more than I would babysitting and protect her more than I would the Wall Street guy. Now, the Wall Street guy might have a nicer house and babysitter, no problem, and there's a cook and she's going to have great food and toys to play with and this and that. But I'm thinking from the perspective of if that babysitter actually needed to protect my daughter, I know what they're capable of doing since they took that responsibility and take it seriously. Again, millions of dollars in cash doesn't come up short. That's why they're not dead. Millions of dollars in product doesn't come up short. That's why they're not dead. And they got busted and had to do 20 years and kept their fucking mouth shut. That's the kind of integrity that I'd be looking for in my business relationships and if I had to pick a babysitter for my daughter or for my wife for that matter.
Is there any type of criminal? I mean, obviously, I guess outside of like a sex offender, that would be your last choice to watch your daughter?
Yeah, fraud people.
Okay.
Because by their nature, I'm not saying all fraud guys are bad, but by their nature, they're fucking scumbags.
Yep. Yeah, they're con artists. They're going to lie to you at the end of the day. They're going to be like, yeah.
And listen, let's be clear. I did fraud.
They were watching TV the whole time.
I did fraud. I made counterfeit traveler's checks and I stole people's fucking PIN numbers, but it was different.
When did you do that?
When I was younger.
I don't remember ever.
Yeah, I did I think we talked about counterfeit traveler's checks and when the ATM Versatellers first came out.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Now I remember.
But that wasn't like a confidence thing, right? Like these fraud dudes do where, they're taking people's investment money like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're able to look someone dead in the eye and lie to them so convincingly you can take their money like that, that's a dangerous skill.
Yeah.
Like that's like you watch out for that guy, You can't watch my kids.
So people who do like the Ponzi schemes and shit like that, that's just, to me, that's different than a guy who does bank fraud.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
So like I said, some of the fraud guys are fine, but if I had to, outside of sex offenders, obviously is number one, fuck them.
Yeah, that's the last pick for
fuck
sure.
them 100% and everything about them. The next ones would be like the Ponzi scheme, confidence scheme fraud dudes.
Outside of drug traffickers, is there anyone else you'd say is like typically an honorable type of criminal?
Oh, I'm not saying they're all honorable. I'm saying the ones that,
of course, the ones that
when we're defining that characteristic as high-level drug traffickers who haven't robbed millions, who've been trustworthy with that.
I guess the better way to
rat.
word that question is there another certain like niche of.
I think every crime, like bank robbers, drug dealers, have that group of them that are that solid
real honorable
people,
slice of them
that are still solid people, are still kind of old school in the sense of protect mine and my family type thing. Like, there is a lot of that runs through the Italians, even that, they've kind of fallen off that whole family, old school. Hey, I got to provide for my this and that, even that they live a huge paradox. It's part of it is rooted in that. I think the Albanians are very family oriented.
Mm-hmm.
They'll also kill your fucking family if you rat, right? Like, they don't have the same limits that other people do, which is why you don't find many Albanian rats. And I find them to be probably those are the most serious of the criminals these days.
Interesting. Does it
More than the Russians? People used to think it was the Russians, and the Russians, no joke. Like, I guess when you get to any real criminal, you get to any real skinhead, and one that's not just saying he's a skinhead. You get to any real AB. You get to any real Mexican mafia dude. You get to any real Russian gangster. You get to any real ones, not the fake ones in any group.
Yeah.
However they're divided or wherever they are in the world, these are going to be serious fucking people. But if we're talking stereotypes, I think the Albanians across the board are more serious or tougher or deal with this criminal shit much more seriously as far as someone you've got to worry about than any other group.
Interesting. Do you think, like, if you had to ballpark it, random percentage, out of all like your old associates or like anyone that you maybe served time with or like used to do business with or whatever, how many of those people ended up doing what you did and like, straightening out and doing legal business?
Oh, the ones I knew from back in the day, only a couple.
It's very rare to do that.
Back in prison. A lot of them are, a lot of them do what they do what they got to do, as they say it. And, I wish them the best. A couple have been in and out several times.
Yeah.
And most of the good guys I met in prison actually never got out. I mean, there's a couple friends of mine, Maurice Brown's home, like he's a dear friend, like he's great. But he came home on the Second Chance Act, I think, or First Step Act, or both. He had a triple life.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then he ended up coming home when they changed the law because they sentenced him for something they didn't actually try him for.
What did he do?
He was the hitter for Venice Shoreline Crips.
Oh, okay. So he was up to no good.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was
allegedly.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, he was a gangster, I mean, he's my friend, like he's a friend of mine, like he's a good dude. I got other friends, like Big Joe, who kind of took me under his wing when I first got there. He's got life. He's in ADX Florence. He's never coming home.
Damn.
Well, hopefully his appeal works out, whatever, I mean, I got other, but most of them are just not coming home. A lot of the Mexicans I knew, and some of them have died since then, like, Black Bob and Gato, they were really schooled me a lot. When I got to Lompoc, they both since passed on.
Damn.
But they were really good to me, man. They could have made my life much more difficult, and they were kind of like, hey, man, you didn't rat, and guys like you usually rat, and make yourself comfortable. And they were good guys to me.
I mean, it's got to be hard for those guys to be in there and know that they're not getting out.
Well, I think some of them just, what they have in common with people who are dying is interesting in that the people who I've known who knew they were dying, and the people I've known that had a life sentence and weren't getting out, they always talk about the things they didn't do. The memories of what they did do is not their thing, right? Like I'm not saying they don't ever talk about it, but they're always preoccupied with the things that they didn't do. That's their first, it's what they have in common. It doesn't matter race, religion, age or male, female, doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. They always talk about the things that they didn't do.
Damn.
And it's a lesson for us, because when we come to the end, whenever that is, we want to always have done everything that we could have. It's like, so life is to be lived every day rather than keep back burnering these things and never ending up doing them. Like, just live every day that you can, because you never know when the last is coming, and do all the things.
And that's probably a perspective on life that you did not have
No.
before going to jail.
Not at all.
Not at all. I mean, that's heavy stuff. What did it feel like when you were transferring facilities or getting out and like saying goodbye to these guys that weren't going anywhere ever?
Well, when I got out, I was
sad
happy. There was nothing sad about it.
Of course.
When you get transferred from facilities, you make a couple friends, dude, and it kind of sucks. Like, you get used to your program, you get used to your guys, you got used to your, everything, and maybe you played softball or volleyball or had a workout partner or whatever, and now you got to do it all over again. So you get the double play of, hey, I got pretty friendly over the last several years, and now moved. For me, it was easy because I didn't spend several years in any one place. So, okay, like I made a few friends out of the whole time that I'm still in contact with, but I didn't make a lot of friends.
Yeah.
But then the other side of it is you got to start all over again. Even that they weren't a great friend, you had your regular routine, and you worked out with this guy and he was cool. Now you got to find another cool guy.
Yeah. You got to do it over and over and over again until you
until you come home. And then when I came home, like when I got released that morning from Coleman to get on the plane to the halfway house to LA, there was no sadness about anybody I was leaving behind.
You're on a fucking plane.
Yeah, like there's not anything like that. But some dudes are 20 years together in the same joint, and that probably sucks when they get separated if they're friends.
Yeah, I mean, they get out. That probably fucks their head up. They're like, what the
hell?
hell?
Well, in the pen, when you have a release date, you don't tell anybody.
Why is that?
Because people fucking are weird, dude. If they know you're going home next year, then they're going to give you some mission that fucks up your date. So you just don't tell anybody.
Interesting.
Right?
They don't want you getting out.
Or somebody that doesn't like you is going to fucking, be motivated to do something sooner rather than later. So a lot of times people in the pen, when they have a date, like they just get called to it doesn't even happen every day in the pen. In the low, every day they call people to R&D because they're being released. In the penitentiary or in the camp, or in even a medium, like some of the mediums, but like a really rough medium high or like a penitentiary, there's not even releases every day, bro. Sometimes not even any in the week.
Yeah.
Right? So somebody's name will be called, hey, come to R&D. They know that's a release, and people will be shocked. Oh, wow, I didn't even know that dude was going home.
I mean, was there ever anyone who would had you seen the consequences of talking about it? Like, did anyone ever go like, yo, I'm going home, and then like people took all their shit or something?
Yeah.
How common was that?
Not common, because most people in the pen didn't fucking. It wasn't like they took their shit. I saw it happen to a Mexican kid. He ended up, having to do some work 3 months before his release date as a makeup. Like now, normally the way they do things, they wouldn't do that to somebody who was going home. But because this dude had fucked up.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then they can do something before.
And they knew he was going home, and the work, so they kind of found work for him.
Interesting.
Right? Whereas if nobody knew that he was going home, they might not have found work.
Yeah, he would have been fine.
They would have waited until something really valuable.
He would have been chilling out, coasting.
Yeah, and maybe his number would have been called in 6 months, and he would have been home in 3.
Yeah. Have you ever reached out to any of those like old friends of yours that you're still in touch with and tried to like help them out? Maybe bring them over to like doing legit stuff?
I tried. I had a friend, Dave. I brought him into the company, and this fucking dude decides to go fucking sell dope again and got busted. Got him on the payroll at my tech company drop-in, and he was there and doing great, but you're making a couple $1,000 a month net after taxes and everything, and it was a legit job, and he had an opportunity to grow. But this dude, he took his paycheck, bought some weed, then bought some coke. Then next thing I know is parole officers calling me saying he got busted. I didn't know that he was doing any of that because I told him like point blank, look, bro, this is legit. You can't.
Yeah.
No, man, I'm legit. I was like, bro, I can't. There's millions invested here. This is my future. This is what I built. I got investors. This isn't. We're not doing dirt here. And no. Anyway, one day he doesn't come in. Next day he doesn't come in. A few days later, his parole officer calls me. asking about him.
You knew something was up then and there, probably.
Well, when the parole officer called, they said they're looking for him. And I said, he hasn't been in for a week. And I put him with HR so they could give his time cards, everything. And we, fully cooperated with whatever we could as far as, did I know anything where he was? No. Did I know that he had a burner phone and what that number was? No. But all the information that the company possessed, we handed over.
Damn. That's got to suck to watch these friends that you threw a bone to just waste the opportunity. It's going to be frustrating.
It sucked because he was a good guy, He's a guy who he never got big in the game. He always worked for somebody else. He ended up he was in prison twice before I met him. He's always been
effectively going to prison for other people.
Yeah, basically, and never got really ahead, but really nice guy, fucking great guy. Yeah, like cool guy, like guy you'd hang out with, fucking no problem. Didn't have a bad bone in his body.
Yeah,
he's just one of them dudes, and he was too nice, actually. Too nice and too impressionable. He got used and got used again, and here he was. He got out. He was 50 at the time. This is about 10 years ago, and he had nothing. And instead of remembering, and I used to tell him all the time, I'm like, remember this, dude. You're broke right now, because I've been rich and poor several times in my life. Right. And after having been to prison, I can tell you this for a fact. It's better to be poor and free than rich and in prison.
For sure.
And and I used to tell him that all the time. I'm like, don't forget that. Don't forget what you would have done to sleep on a sidewalk and be able to get an Egg McMuffin in the morning. Right? Don't get caught up in all this, dude. Like, it takes time. But you got a roof over your head. Yeah, it's shitty. You got a mattress that's better than the one you had in there. Yeah, it's on the floor. Yeah, you don't have furniture. Yeah, but you got a TV that's all yours that you don't have to share with anybody.
Good to go.
And you're walking distance from the office. So yeah, you don't have a car.
And you can smoke weed.
Yeah, you don't have a car, and you're cool. Like, remember that it's better to be poor and free than rich and in prison.
And he forgot that.
Yeah. Well, he has the dilemma of, I'm not going to get caught this time. Everybody thinks that, right? Like, nobody's doing shit if they think they're going to get caught.
Yeah. Recognizing that you're probably going to get caught is
a gambler's
pretty
dilemma.
Powerful thing, most likely.
Yeah.
I wonder too. I mean, I can't imagine it's easy for you to get investors for your companies with your criminal history.
No, it was very difficult. And then what happened is, we got through that. Like, basically the poster child for rehabilitation. Prison to Forbes in 5 years. Like, got accepted to Lloyd's for drop-in.
You were in Forbes for drop-in, yeah? Or Forbes for drop-in?
Yeah,
yep.
For the tech company I made for the insurtech space. Lloyd's of
London.
London.
Like drones that like...
Yeah, drones and camera phones. And Lloyd's of London had us in there, like, and everybody knew my history. So it was a big fight, struggle, got past it. But then after the Thailand thing happened, it kind of put me back to square one as far as, hey, you got arrested for attempted murder, kidnap, extortion in Thailand.
Which is an insane thing to be accused of.
Yeah, and even that I won, it didn't matter. Like, first it crashed, drop-in. It crashed. We lost 60% of our customers overnight. And basically had to start over again, bro. I mean, and that's what life is. Like I said, I've been rich and poor multiple times. So, you start over, and you don't let the things that were fucked up in the past continue to carry into the future if you can help it, like, so, all right, that crashed. You got to just get right back up and get after it again, and
you have no other choice.
So I work on smaller things. It was like the limitless thing, like, is one of the things that I can do. We found a lab, we found a doctor, we got the formulation together. Like, it wasn't a huge amount of money, and set up an e-commerce store, and hey, it works. It gives you focus without being jittery. It's I think it's better than the alpha wave thing that Rogan does. Like, I've tried them both. Obviously I'm biased, but I think Sure, I mean, I admit that, but ours doesn't give you the jitters and actually works. It gives you a high level of focus, and at the end of the day,
Bring some
you'll
by,
notice
dude.
you feel less drained.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give you that. You don't feel up from it while you take it. At the end of the day is when you really notice that you feel less drained, and it feels like you've assimilated more of the information that you've had, because you don't get. We only put 33 grams of caffeine in there, which is like less than like about a tenth of a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And that's just a catalyst for the other things that are in there.
Helps everything else just flow smoother.
Yeah. Biological biochemistry is a funny thing, which is why we had to go to a lab and a doctor. I couldn't figure out how to make this take the same stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's a totally different industry than like what you were in, you know?
But businesses are all the same. What do you have to start with? What is your risk tolerance?
And what are you
and
building,
who do you know?
Yep.
Right? So I knew a doctor who happened to talk to me about it. He's like, hey, we should do this. Okay, cool. He knew a lab, right? It's like you need to connect first before you figure out where you're shipping.
You need to plug for everything, dude.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Every industry, there's plugs for everything.
Exactly right.
So we have a big lineup here as well of fan questions. You know, before you came in today, I posted on Twitter and I told everybody, listen, Louis is pulling back up today. If you could ask one question, what would it be? And I pulled all of my favorite ones. And we have some bangers today. We have some really, really great questions.
This is almost like a caller episode.
It kind of is, yeah. So the first one we have is from Benji, and he wants to know, what's the most money you've seen in one deal? Whether that's like not even you getting it, but like just like what's the biggest value?
The most money I've seen is more than I could count. I saw a warehouse that the Mexicans had that we bought the cocaine from with pallets of money.
Damn. Just straight
more than
like warehouse
more
style
than $100
pallets?
million. I don't know.
That's insane.
How much? Yeah, warehouse palleted cash.
That's insane. That's got to be a pretty like
more than it's got to be. I couldn't tell you how much it is. I could tell you safely more than 100 million.
More than you can fathom.
But nobody told me how much it was. I was just kind of doing. I know like in hundreds, it's basically fucking, 100 stacks. 100 stacks of 10, right, and it's 22 pounds, right? So and it kind of sits in a box.
Interesting,
right? Like, so I was just doing rough numbers in my head, and I figure a minimum of 12 million per pallet, and it might be more. And there was pallets. It was a big warehouse.
They just got a fucking warehouse full of them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's got to be like an insane thing to walk into going into that warehouse. Like, what's going through your head when you see that much money?
Well, I understood the reason why they wouldn't take 250 grand to introduce me to their connect in South America.
Your 250 grand was irrelevant.
Yeah.
If you're not filling a pallet, go home.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, that's kind of insane. That's like some movie shit.
Yeah.
You know? When are you selling your life rights, dude? We got to get you on the phone with the fucking...
I'm not selling my life rights. That's the problem. Everybody wants to make the movie. Yeah, I'll license them. And also, I want to do it like the way Dre and Cube did it. I don't need to change anything. As you know, I'm happy to share paperwork. Yeah. It's all documented.
You're a pretty open book, dude.
I don't need to embellish anything. I don't need to... What I do need to do is I need to protect a couple names of people who nobody knows about.
Yeah.
And keep a couple things out. But I don't need to put anything in. I'm happy to have my own bumps and bruises and cuts and scars. I made plenty of mistakes.
Yeah.
If you read all of it, you can see where I did make mistakes that are embarrassing to think about, right? Like I don't need to clean any of that up, tell the story exactly as it is, but I do need to keep some control to make sure of that. And also that if the audience decides that we test better, me and Tamer as informants, if we sold our life rights, they could change us to informants in the movie.
For sure.
I can't have that. I lived it once, and I'm not having anybody change it. And I'm not...
It's got to be exactly how
you the rats are the rats. You're not... I want the story told accurately. So life rights thing is just not a thing. And also, I have... I think it's much better as a series than a movie. Because I don't think 2 hours does it when you think about the drug business itself, late 90s. Ecstasy, look, they made that Sons of Ecstasy talking about Sammy Gravano and Sean Atwood, right?
Yep.
Okay, they were both buying from us, dude. Both of them.
You're the missing piece from that.
But what do you mean? They're fighting over. Bobby Stewart made the first raves, a rat on our case. Four Aces Entertainment made the first raves in Arizona, where we went and, you sell 10,000 pills in 20 minutes, and then next time you're bringing 20, and we're like, this is in the beginning, right? We left that shit behind because once we got bigger, it didn't make sense. Oh, well, we're going to set up a rave for fucking 2 weeks and fucking sell 40,000 pills. They were fighting over an area that we left because it was too small. That dude Schooley, who worked for fucking whatchamacallit, used to buy from one of the guys who was 3 dudes down the chain from me that I didn't know. The fucking dude who ratted on Gravano, Mike Pappas, and Andre Wagner, the white boy, were buying from my rat Mike. Also, I'd never met him. They were both buying from us. Like, the story carries itself. So you have that. And then you have the court case. Getting busted, representing yourself to prison time.
Yep.
Then you have after that, right? The tech company leading and the crazy stories like that happened with, Lloyd's thought for the first 2 years I was in the business, and I found this out once we got there, and everybody in the insurance space thought that I was laundering money and our tech company wasn't a real tech company and didn't really have any tech, and I had no interest in customers or business. Like, literally, people thought that. They thought I was just acting it in order to launder money. So you have that, right? You have that, which leads into Thailand and the whole escapade over there, and leads into Ukraine and the whole escapade over there with all the mercenaries that were from Thailand. Like, so I don't know. I think that's 4 or 5 seasons right there, right? Of 6 to 10 episode.
I'd say pretty easily you could get 4 to 5 seasons out of that.
Yeah. So I think it's better as a scripted series because as a movie, you're just going to have to leave too much out.
Yeah. Unless you do a movie series too.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I think the scripted series is probably better.
Yep.
And I think, if you get past the first season, the way the waterfall works now, second season, third season, fourth season as a producer, which I would be, you actually can make some good money.
Damn, don't give these guys any ideas, dude. I need them producing.
Well, this is podcast.
This doesn't pay as much as that probably would. So the next question we have is from Critch, and he wants to know, what's the hardest you've ever seen someone roll on Molly?
I don't know. I'm going to say that was me because I'm the only one who knows how I felt, and I ended up taking 6 fucking pills in one night.
How did that go?
Dude, it was, I felt like I was, like a blob on the ground. I felt like I was just sliming across, not slime, just kind of rolling across everything. It was just, wow, bro, wow.
Felt like you'd almost lost your form.
Yeah, and I was like, I was laying down for a huge amount of the time, just overwhelmed almost, like feeling great, but just not moving, like, which is kind of counterintuitive because I used to take 1 or 2 pills and I'd be out at the clubs, partying, having a good time, right? Like, but this was like oppressive to where it really limited my movement.
Damn. I mean, that sounds like it wasn't even fun at that point.
No, but while you were taking them, it seemed fun.
Fuck yeah, of course.
And they just didn't, and this was kind of in the beginning of the thing because we used to take, before we learned how to scrape them on our teeth and by the bitterness tell like pretty close how many milligrams it is, right? Like if it's a good pill or bad pill for sure. We used to take them
just to
to tell if they were good because you couldn't just trust somebody. What if you buy them and they're no good and you ship them back?
Well, that's comforting, as a customer to know that the higher ups are testing it before they sell it to us. That's
so in
great.
The beginning we were testing it, so you might take 2-3 pills in a night, right? Because you also want to get this done quick as possible. So you'll take a pill and then a few hours later you'll take another pill and see if it fucking hits you again, right? And same thing, 6 hours in, you'll take a third pill maybe, see if it hits you again. Because it comes in waves, right?
Yep.
And then
almost pulsates through your body.
This night was I only took 2 for testing, and And then the second one wasn't good, and I took a third one, and I thought the third one wasn't good, and then I took 2 more, and then I took the third one again as the 6th one, thinking it wasn't good, and they were just all late hitters.
You realized pretty quick that it was good.
Or at least enough of them were late hitters that, I didn't get any test results that were usable out of that because it was that. I couldn't tell which one was which.
Yeah, you were drooling on yourself at that point.
Also, you know how you get that after, like the day after, right?
Yep. You want to fucking kill yourself the day after.
Well, I wouldn't say kill yourself, but there's this kind of like, you know, you need to have like some very vigorous sexual activity, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
That went on for 2 days instead of 1.
Oh, that's kind of brutal.
Well, I don't know. The sex part was pretty good.
Well, sure, but like, I don't know. For me, dude, the day after I'd roll, I'd always just be like, damn, dude, nothing's fun today.
It wasn't until the 3rd day after that I started eating and everything.
Everything's normal again. Yeah. You get like, that reset.
You got that kind of hangover where you're not eating. The only thing you're interested in is pussy and fucking.
Yeah.
And some water.
It's interesting that they were late hitters and that afterglow effect kind of lasted longer. Like, why do you think that was?
I have no idea.
It's weird.
Yeah, I think what I do know about our body chemistry is that different things affect everybody differently based on their own chemical makeup. But then our bodies also, depending where our own pH is at, where our own hormones are at any given time, can be affected differently even within ourselves rather than just from person to person.
Yep.
So the same thing can give different experiences. So I don't know. I wouldn't even know where to answer that question without a doctor and a bunch of fucking lab tests.
Yeah. Yeah, we need some more professionals in here for that one.
Yeah.
The next question I got is from Chris. And Chris wants to know, out of all the people who ever snitched, who's the biggest snitch you ever met?
The biggest snitch that I ever met.
Is there one
like
person
in
who
my
really,
case, or?
yeah, like let's say in your case, who really like fucked you over?
Yeah, Monir Deary. Mike
He
Deary.
was the one?
He was the one. He coordinated the other ones.
Really?
Yeah, it was
He
his
was the
girls who were
snitch master.
stealing the stuff. Yeah, he was the snitch master.
Oh, Mike
He's a
Deary.
piece of shit.
Fucking asshole.
A close second is Al Mayman.
You know, I was reading online. I think I linked it here. Let me make sure. I think Mike Deary, I looked him up too before this episode. I think he got arrested again recently.
Yeah.
For fraud or something in like 2020, yeah?
Yeah, so that's funny because he's a rat. He got arrested again after my case ratted.
Mm-hmm.
Then this time he got busted in fraud. Remember what I told you about fraud people?
Yeah.
Right? Like his behavior matches that thing I was describing about those specific fraud people, right?
It's actually, I mean, wow, that's proof in the pudding right
well,
there.
He got ratted on this time.
Oh.
Yeah, so he
Karma
tried to
came
rat,
back
but they
for him.
but they had him entrapped this time, and so he tried to rat, but he got out-ratted. So it was Battle of the Rats. And, you know, poetic justice, I guess. He got what he deserved a little bit.
Damn, I mean, that guy, at this point, when's that guy getting out of prison? Like,
I don't know.
He's been in for some serious fucking shit at this point.
Yeah, it's funny. He got out. He got a free ride after a couple of years, and all he's done is go back in and out since then.
And fuck up, you know? Maybe they should have gave you the free ride the first time.
Well, it's funny because if Mike Deary did all the same things I did, right? Or let's use Gravano did all the same things that John Gotti did, maybe even more as far as murders, right? Then if Gravano rats, remember, did the same thing, 19 murders.
Yep.
He doesn't need as much rehabilitation. He can be let go, right, after a couple of years. But Gotti needs to go away for life. Now let's examine that from what kind of human character are we talking about? So the dude who murdered less people has to go away for life, while the other one who murdered more people
and then betrayed the person that was supposed to.
And then betrayed moral.
That's the one we throw back into society.
Yeah, because dude, listen, everybody says this, right? But here's the fucking thing about that, right? If you sign up for the life.
100%.
You sign into the mafia, right? Nobody guarantees you a happy fucking ending. Yeah, John Gotti was a fucking scumbag for talking about old school murders that were already in the book. You never do that. And talking about taking out Gravano, who put him in place. I totally fucking agree. Gotti was a fucking scumbag for that. Gravano was his man, did fucking all the dirty work. In fact, carried that fucking family. Without him, everybody would have had less money, everything. Give credit where credit's due.
100%.
But Gravano signed up. That is not an excuse to rat, dude.
Yep.
Right? Just because Gotti's talking about taking you out, that is not a fucking excuse to rat. You signed up for life. And more than that, you killed people, which means you, in the name of the life, right? You killed people in the name of the life, which means to me, you're more beholden to the rules.
Yeah. You've signed it away forever the moment you killed somebody. Like
you gave Omerta your fucking blood oath, right? And okay, and then you killed in the name of that. You are fucking a higher standard required to follow that.
Yeah.
Than somebody who's done less than you. So yeah, I get it. Gotti was a fucking retard that fucking did that. He should have never fucking been talking about old murders because there's no statute of limitations, and he should have never, ever, ever been talking to other people about taking out Gravano. After everything Gravano did for him, they were close enough they should have been talking, but that's on a personal level.
Yep.
But the feds used that to get Gravano to rat.
Yep.
Fuck that, dude. Nobody promised you a happy ending, Gravano. Nobody. You're a fucking rat, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you killed people in the name of that life. And then when it was on you and it was your turn, you didn't live up to that you took other people's lives for?
Yeah.
Fuck that, bro.
That's the worst type of
rat with
traitor.
excuse.
Yeah.
You're even worse.
Yeah.
Because you try to make an excuse for it. Fuck that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no excusing it, and it's one thing if you stand on it and just like, yeah, I ratted, whatever. It's like, okay, you did that. Ratting is what it is, but that's very dishonorable.
Yeah, you took people's lives that you were worried about ratting on you in the name of the life.
Those people died for even less of a reason the moment that he ratted.
You did that. You killed them. You admitted to it. You did it. You fucking... You lived the life of respect because people knew you did it. You made money.
Yep.
Everything else, you rose in the ranks, fucking everything. You did that. Now you're going to turn rat for any reason when you've taken people's lives just suspecting that they might? No, fuck them excusers and them fucking people who make excuses for him and all that. Fuck that, dude.
Yep. People are all fucked.
No, but, he makes a little money now. He's got a podcast now. So, there's ass kissers out there. Fucking like PBD's fucking dumbass kissed his ass. Patrick McDavid kisses his ass all the fucking time, right? Like, dude, so they kiss his ass. But, dude, fuck that. Like, he is what he is. And there is no apology for that. And there is no excuse for that. And these dudes who try to act like there is or pump this dude up, fuck them too.
I think it would be really interesting to see you and him get on a podcast together. You and Gravano, like someone sit you two down to talk about that.
I got no problem with it, but I'll tell you right now, like, listen, I am not a lifetime gangster. I am a street person. I give credit where credit's due, just like I did when we were talking about it.
Yep.
He was a legit fucking killer. Absolutely. But where we're going to disagree is fucking, dude, you're a fucking rat, and there's no excuse for it. And you should have been held to a higher standard than anybody else, actually.
Yep. 100%.
And he can say anything he wants. And there ain't nothing I said earlier. I'm willing to accept new information and evolve, but not in this subject. There's nothing that's going to change my mind about that particular subject.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, as someone who's kind of a completely neutral third party in the sense that I've never been to prison, I don't do that kind of shit. I agree with you for sure. Like, he more than anyone has an obligation to stick to that. Like, it's one thing.
You take a life in the name of it, you have to live up to it.
Like, you snitch as someone who just sells drugs. Okay, that's one thing.
That's bad enough.
But he killed 19 people for that. So him snitching, okay, 19 people just died for
Yeah.
It was already no reason before, but now really, truly no reason now.
And before that, even he gave a blood oath. I never gave an oath to anybody.
Yeah, it's a whole nother thing too.
You know, like me and you know each other, and we decide to do something together. And like I'm telling you, dude, if something happens, I'm not going to rat on you. Now, 95% of people that tell you that, they're going to rat on you.
Yep.
In my case, I didn't. That's all it was. I didn't do a blood oath or a ceremony or any of that.
Yep.
And then if I tell you all that, and I bury bodies with you, right? I'm held to a higher standard, right? Like you expect.
Now it's really like, okay, this guy better not say anything ever.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, this dude signed a blood oath. He gave his word to hundreds of men around the world, right? And then he took lives in the name of that word. And I don't care what your fucking thing is. Fuck that, dude. You're a rat, period. There's no reason, no excuse, and nothing makes it okay.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
You are of shitty moral character. You can take people's lives for the thing which you did yourself.
100%.
That's not just being a hypocrite.
Yep. That's just being a bad person.
Yeah.
That's truly what a bad person is. You know, I think that makes someone more of a bad person than just killing.
Now, is he a killer, a gangster, a fucking somebody that, you know, needs to be respected as dangerous? Absolutely. Does he need to be respected as somebody who tells stories? Absolutely. Do I need to respect his excuse for why he ratted? Fuck no, dude. That's bullshit, and he knows it too. He's a fucking rat, period.
Yeah, it's how he copes with it.
Yeah.
It's how he copes with it.
End of the fucking day. And everybody that makes excuses for him or pumps this dude up, you know, like same shit.
They're in the same boat.
Yeah, same boat. You hang out with a child molester, you're a fucking diaper sniper, dude.
Same thing.
I don't care if you're fucking the kid or not. You're going to get it the same way that dude is.
Yep, 100%.
You're going to catch the same fucking beating.
100%. The next question we have from a fan, this one I actually, for some reason, didn't write a name down, so I don't know who this came from. But someone out there wants to know, what does the color difference in Ecstasy or MDMA signify?
Oh, it's just food coloring. Okay, MDMA crystalline is like kind of brown crystal, right? So most people don't realize, but in a pill, 90% of that pill is bonding agent to hold the pill together, right? So you just add food coloring to make the fucking colors. We didn't have any significance on the colors. Now, we made green triangles, shaped pills. There was speed added to those because that's what the raver clients wanted, right? The other ones were just MDMA, 80 to 120 milligrams, depending on, you know, whatever it was. Later on, when we got the oil, it was always 120. Just so people could break pills in half and have a good experience. Good best product, best price, you always win. Yeah. That was a business decision. But when we made colors, other than the green triangles, it had absolutely no significance.
What about the color of the crystal itself?
Well, it should be, if it's pure MDMA, 3,4-methylene-doxymethamphetamine, it's going to be brown crystalline. It's going to have like a tan color to it.
What about, like, for example, I've seen people post pictures online of shit that was like almost purple.
Yeah, I don't know what that stuff is. I have no clue. Maybe that was the light. Maybe that was a lighting trick. Maybe, but you know, if you look the easiest place to see it is in white pills. Yeah. Right. You can see there's little brown specks in there. That's the MDMA. Yeah.
So I have something I want to get your opinion on. That this is going to be a Spotify exclusive. So make sure to take a note because YouTube won't allow us to do this. So the next question I have from a viewer, we have two more. This is one that I'm actually really curious about. How long does it take for the U.S. government to catch up to trafficking trends?
Well, what do you mean by the government? Like, you mean Congress and the president, or you mean the DEA?
DEA, whoever's coming after you first for it.
Oh, the DEA knows about trends pretty quickly. The problem is, when does political will finance the DEA or Homeland Security investigations or the FBI to move on it? Like, the DEA knew about fentanyl years before that. You know, one of the things people don't know all the time, that with this whole thing that with Iran and us bombing them came up, well, they say it's Israel's war. We got nothing to do with Hezbollah. And well, Hezbollah is the largest trafficking and arms trafficking organization in the world. And in Syria, they were manufacturing, they that they were bringing to the Mexicans. And the Chinese and Hezbollah and the Mexicans are all involved in this, like the cartels down there. And the Chinese actually provide intelligence to the cartels.
Interesting.
So when people say that Iran, who made Hezbollah, is no threat to America, they really have no idea what the they're talking about. And if they don't believe me, they can ask any DEA agent. The question becomes, about what I just said about China, Hezbollah, Syria, manufacturing fentanyl. Israel blew those factories up, right? And distributing it here through the Mexicans and providing the Mexicans intelligence. The reason why Trump is so mad at Mexico and the cartels is because of the thing, but the fact that they're getting Chinese intelligence. We don't want that like right on our border, right? We don't want Chinese intelligence ingrained in the cartels.
Yeah, it's no good.
Yeah. So if the cartels really don't want, soft operators down there handling them, then they should break their relationships with the Chinese and just go back to selling.
It's probably never going to happen, though.
Force is a funny thing. It depends how much you have to project and what is your will to continue in the face of hardship. Right? So, like, I believe the reason why America hasn't really won a war since World War II is not because we weren't capable of winning, but because, one, in most, we never fully committed, and second, we didn't have the resolve, leaving aside whether we should have been in those wars or not, because some yes, some no.
Of course.
I don't want to act like I'm an advocate for every war, but every war this can be said about is that the reason why we didn't win is that, one, we had a commitment issue, and two, that commitment issue, in the face of hardship, we did not have the resolve to double down or continue. And that is also one of the strengths and weaknesses of any representative government, right? Because the government has to be susceptible to public opinion. It's very difficult to continue in Vietnam. Let's say that was a just war. I'm not saying it is, but with that kind of pushback, with that kind of pushback here at home, it's very difficult to continue on, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know enough about Vietnam to say whether it was legitimate or not. But I do know enough about the U.S. military and its capabilities to tell you that America could have won. Actually, they did very well in the Tet Offensive, but we didn't have the resolve to do it. Again, for all your audience out there, I'm not commenting on whether it's a good war or bad war. I'm just talking about a separate issue using the war as
for
a
sure.
platform.
Yeah. I mean, I think like it's just such an interesting thing how the government operates and decides what things to prosecute and what things to let slide, because it's just a pendulum that like never stops swinging.
Public opinion, bro. This is, again, strength and weakness. We check and balance for the government, but the government also has to have a popularity contest every 2 years. There's elections every 2 years. Every 4 years, there's a popularity contest. So, and this is my problem with not having term limits like we talked about before, is that doing the job in Congress, right, and winning elections creates a conflict of interest. Are you there for a career, which means all you're worried about is elections, or are you there as a service, which is what the framers intended if you read the Federalist Papers, for a limited time, so you just do the right thing, not the election thing. Yep. You do what is good, not what looks good. And that is the whole concept of a republic, which both parties have ruined by allowing for career politicians.
Have you seen, slightly unrelated, but on the topic of politicians, you see, I think the Pelosi Act where congressmen can't invest in stocks anymore just passed the House, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but it won't pass the Senate.
Yeah, probably not, but
that's the other thing.
I wish it would,
If
dude.
you look at all the things that like the public likes, it always passes. It passes the House more often than it doesn't. It's getting
Stage
through the
one
Senate,
is easy.
And even if it gets through the Senate, there's something that most Americans don't know about because they're not educated properly. When something goes through the Senate and goes through the House, that's not a bill. It has to go through reconciliation.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the final product?
Yep.
What are the cutouts?
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's it's realistically nobody's going to vote on their own financial demise. Like nobody is going to, all right, yeah, I agree with that. all my
But
investments.
if someone didn't have a career there and could only be there for 6 years or 4 years, as that House of Representatives was intended, if you read the Federalist Papers, especially, and the Senate, but for the, they wanted to have some continuity with the high overturn in the House. They wanted to give a longer term to the Senate so that there was some governing continuity, right? And now they make careers out of it. If they were just up there for 4 or 6 or 8 years, if that's all they could do as a public service, there's a much better chance that they would audit and police themselves better.
Yeah. We're so far away from that.
But you make a career out of it, like, who is going to vote to take half their paycheck home?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. Absolutely nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation that, like, I feel like the only way
Term limits.
Yeah, term limits, and I mean, even beyond that, like, we're gonna have to have some sort of executive order against buying stocks as a congressman or something,
I don't know. I don't know. They'd probably overturn that with a 2/3.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. Either way, I should.
Yeah.
The last question that we have from a viewer, saved a fun one for last. Kind of bringing it back. Would you rather have a gay son or a thought daughter?
Oh, what's a thought daughter?
Like a daughter, like a daughter who is just a complete. Like there's a different guy over.
I
every
would
night.
like whichever one of them was happy. So it could be either,
Okay.
as long as they were happy.
I feel like you held yourself back with that answer.
No, it could be either, as long as they were happy.
I'd probably say gay son. Thought daughter's a moral issue.
If
bro.
you have a gay son that is, not mentally well and is bullied and doesn't ever find their footing and commits suicide, I don't find that outcome to be better than the potential of a thought daughter who can then years later change her ways, reconcile what she's done, get married, and have kids. Now, it's true the thought daughter could go and commit suicide too and never whatever, and the gay son could be happy, which is why I'm not holding back at all when I tell you either one, just depends which one was happy.
I'm picking gay son all day. I think thought daughter's a moral issue, like if she's out there, she's bringing 100 dudes a, month home.
Yeah,
that's a moral issue. I raised her wrong.
I wouldn't choose either out of the ether. Like if those things were coming my way, then what I would immediately revert to is that I'd want my child to be happy.
Yeah.
And my happiness would be secondary to theirs. So while I might look at it as a moral problem, and I certainly wouldn't want Bonnie Blue to be my daughter.
For sure.
Right? I also think Bonnie Blue happens to be built differently than most humans, and people can't understand that.
She's like a Terminator type of.
Yeah, I just think she doesn't.
Robot.
She doesn't have an emotional, she has an emotional handicap, so she doesn't get connected to things like.
She's got the 1,000 cock stare.
Yeah,
she's
but I
really
think
got
it's
it
not.
bad.
It's not. I don't know that it's from trauma. I think it might be she's emotionally handicapped. Like she doesn't have the same chemical
She's a little
reactions
retarded?
that we are used to having in our brain
Okay.
that create emotional response. But
Like
that's a
that.
separate subject. But yeah, I obviously wouldn't want Bonnie Blue as a daughter, and I'd rather have a heterosexual son than a gay son. But if I have to have either one, what I'd want is for them to be happy.
I like that answer.
Because their happiness, my child's happiness, would come before mine.
I like that. That's good parenting right there. That's a good mentality.
Yeah, and we hope we can live up to that if that moment arrives. Again,
Yeah.
it's easy to say the nice words, right? But when the moment comes to us, how do we respond in the way that we hope that we would?
Yep. I like that. I got to say, this has been a really fun episode, Louis. This has been a great time having you back. You're always a fun guest to have on the show.
Yeah, man. Love hanging out with you, bro.
For everyone out there who maybe hasn't tuned into the first episode or isn't familiar with your new business venture, where can everyone keep up with you now?
Check out limitlessfocus.com. I think you guys will like it. It's good. It's good. You'll feel more accomplished at the end of the day. And you can find me on Instagram, Louis Ziskin, at Louis Ziskin or on TikTok, wherever, YouTube, Louis Ziskin, LOUISZISKIN. I'm not hard to find.
You're definitely not. You're definitely not hard to find. And we'll have all of those linked in the pinned comment below. So any of you guys who maybe have trouble spelling, you can just scroll down and click a nice little link and find Louis on all of his platforms. Thank you all for tuning in.
I got a coupon code for you. QR code.
What is it?
If they use GOB15, they'll get a 15% discount on limitlessfocus.com.
Limitlessfocus.com, GOB15, dude. Go get a discount today. Go support Louis and make sure you support his legal business so he stays out of prison.
Thank you.
You know? Thanks for helping him out, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in, supporting the show. Drop a like if you enjoyed this one. If you're on Spotify, make sure to vote on the poll that you see on your screen because voting on the poll helps the show. I don't know. It like puts in the algorithm or something. So go do that. But either way, thank you all for supporting this one. Appreciate all the love. Go check out Limitless Focus. Go follow Louis on all his platforms. Link below. Deuces. So let's say I wanted to become a drug trafficker. I'm going Louis Ziskin. What do you think I should choose as a drug?
You want to talk biggest profit margins? To Singapore, but you'll die if you get caught. You're taking a $10,000, $12,000 unit here and turning it into 200 grand. I would go on the trade commission over there in Singapore and see what's actually getting shipped. And then I'd start narrowing it down to products that would work. I'd find companies that do those. I'd see if any of them were in financial trouble and I'd try to leverage their existing shipping line. If not, put a private investigator on them and find compromising information to leverage that.